Earth.
To outer space! Every one of us!
This is a pretty large-scale operation.
Right, but it'll be dangerous.
So what? That's never stopped us before.
Right, but it'll be dangerous.
Commence operation!
We'll commence operations in 7 minutes.
904. Proceed to R2-2.
Power levels to maximum.
Understood. Second unit, stand by for orders.
Straight for the atmosphere.
We all have to make it up to space!
Be patient.
Tactics level cleared. Continuing on strategic.
As requested, you are now connected to outer space.
Never forget how beautiful the Earth looks from afar.
Outer space. It's so quiet. The remaining frontier is outer space.
Will you please come with me?
Where to?
Outer space.
I hope I'm not too late.
I wonder how long I'll be able to see the moon like this.
The majority of people living in space are either technicians or laborers.
All right, take her out. Yeah, that's it. Game, we're going.
All areas functioning.
David, you're early.
You're early too? Oh my god, I came early to set up the ambush from my end. What did you come early for?
I'm always early because I do the pre-show.
We're both early.
Okay.
Oh shit. Oh no.
I'll just send out the links now since we're both here. Presumably Hazen will be on in a bit. Send those out now because I was just finished writing those.
Nice.
All right, cool. So we are set to go. I've got my art going, so got my beers. I'm good.
Nice. I am just getting my camera and stuff set up now, but we can start talking. I'm firing up the link and all that good stuff.
Good. What you working on today? Prelude?
Actually penciling the last volume 5 page.
We both had lasts this week. I posted
So
the last.
I
posted the last false start page on FA, and you did the last volume 5 page. How about
yeah. Well,
that?
in the process, I like it. I like finishing stuff. Feels pretty nice.
Feels good, man.
Move that over there.
All right, so I can
Now let me
respond in the
post this
chat.
announcement everywhere.
Oh, yeah, I guess I should start putting these on Minds and what's it called? The Fediverse as well. Might as well.
Yeah, I still gotta remember my Fediverse login, but I'm posting it on Minds too. Because apparently, like these stupid alternatives that I've been posting to for literally like 2 years, I was really at the point where I was like, this is pointless. These things will never take off. Well, they're finally taking off.
They're
so.
kind of the only. Plus, like you kind of need them at this point. Like things are dicey out there.
They certainly are, but we are building a nice little outer heaven for ourselves. I've never played Metal Gear Solid, but I assume outer heaven means cool fucking place where we do what we want.
Do you know what Outer Heaven is in the context of the game at all? Like,
I think I'm just going to make up what I think it should be. I think it's an aircraft carrier where Big Boss and Solid Snake have a bunk bed, and they plan their missions to get revenge against Liquid in their aircraft carrier in international waters. Am I close?
strangely so in a lot of ways. I could get into why the inaccuracies, but you got the broad strokes of it. The basis of it is Big Boss founds his own, essentially, nation in international waters because he wants to essentially mediate the nuclear world state. He wants to be the actual third party that prevents anybody from destroying the world by being a nation that is unbound to any other nation. And he is also a nuclear-equipped power, and his whole thing is attempting to maintain neutrality to try and mediate international conflicts. It's a pretty.
That actually makes sense.
Yeah, no, and if you get into it's especially prevalent in Metal Gear Solid 3 and 5. They get into how it all works, and it's a surprisingly well thought out and interesting idea that obviously a lot of people find interesting as well. So
Do that only without the influence over world events and without the nukes. Let's just do that, but our version is leave us the fuck alone and also enjoy this comic.
we'll make comics that are as good at killing people as nuclear bomb. They're as good at entertaining as bombs are at killing people. There we go.
Yeah, that sounds good.
There we
So
go.
in Metal Gear, what is the big, like, why don't all the other nations just immediately nuke Outer Heaven? Because it's like, what would be the repercussions if they erased that, you know?
Well, the big idea is that they can't because it's because they have agents in the field that if you kill them, it's like, oh, is Big Boss even there at the time? Oh, he's not. Oh, cool. He's just gonna paratroop into your land and destroy. Now, the setup for Metal Gear Solid 5 is that they get destroyed under the guise of a UN nuclear weapons inspection. All of Outer Heaven gets fucking destroyed. And Metal Gear Solid 5 is you creating the new Outer Heaven, the quote-unquote mother base. Because you were off-site at the time, but you and Kazuhira Miller refound the organization 9 years later. So yes, you're not wrong in that people do regularly try to take them out. That is like an ongoing thing they deal with.
I just wrote Metal Gear Solid plot after the fact.
Oh,
Checkmate.
You and Hideo Kojima, smart guys. Two smart
Yeah,
guys.
Hideo's.
Making smart.
He thought he was original, and then I took his story and I said it again. So I guess he's not so original now.
Yeah, who's the smart guy now?
Yeah.
Chat's already here. Hey guys, we got Froduck, we got Nico, we got Chris Bronze, Dreamer, Noble Indigo, Blue Paw. Oh my goodness, filling it out.
Guys,
People
guys.
saying hello. See, Chris Bronze says I was supposed to make a big Chungus OC. All right, off to a good start. But I was too busy working on Magic. I mean, assembly programming language. Were you working on your Magic the Gathering deck? Is that what was really going on? Oh. Got Nitro Stouts
There we
back
go.
here.
Hey Twitter, how about you refresh this century so I can post the link out? Anyways, for people watching now, remember the chat that gets read is Bonitis Uno on Twitch.tv.
Yeah, we have
And
the dual thing,
assuming-
but I usually I do my best to read the best comments. I read all of them. I read aloud the ones that seem fun or funny or interesting. Oh, someone's logging in.
Yeah, it's me.
And if you want to, hey, how's it going? Who's there?
Billy, yeah, me.
Billy, oh my God, Billy! I haven't heard your beautiful voice in so long.
Sweet.
Yeah, I know. I've recently recovered from COVID. And,
That's
I mean,
true.
it wasn't bad, but you know.
You were talking
Well,
about
it's
you
like
lost your sense of taste, and you couldn't even drink because you couldn't taste it. Which is like
Nope, I was.
whiskey's.
I couldn't
And
smell
you're like
whiskey.
me. You're a whiskey drinker, so whiskey's a strong taste. If you can't taste that, you've got no taste. Like.
Yep. Yeah, it was severely impaired. I could barely taste. Yeah, I couldn't really taste it now. But no, I'm good now. I've got coffee there. I won't get too drunk because I got quite drunk the other night, and you know I say things. But I'll be here briefly because I'm still working on that thing for Dave, so I'll be here. You know, not for long.
Okay.
How is it that you can get so drunk on a regular basis, and yet you still set up all these forks and traps for me in chess that I continue to blunder into?
Drunken.
I'm 26 years old. That's why.
He's got drunken chess mastery.
Oh no,
And he's British.
On well, a lot of the early masters, some of them are British. There was Howard Staunton. There was.
Well, no, I was talking more about the alcohol.
Oh right, yeah. Well, I started drinking when I was 16, so.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Glenfiddich. Glenfiddich was my first drink.
Oh man, that's a good start. That's a really strong
no.
drink to start though. You'd probably be like, ah.
Oh yeah, I was coughing, spluttering. My face was, my throat burned, my stomach was burning, but I loved it and I went back for more.
Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, usually kids are like,
Yeah, the
ah,
drinking age is-
gross.
There's technically no legal drinking age, but it's just to buy it. Yeah, that's 18.
Oh, okay.
So,
Don't you guys
but
also have to
technically,
be?
there's no legal drinking age.
Don't you also have to be 16 to buy caffeinated drinks in Britain now?
A lot of shops, I don't think it's the law, but a lot of shops have the policy, you know,
Okay,
private company policies.
I've seen those signs, and I'm like, that's weird.
But we got the sugar tax now, but yes, that's not really that. But they just don't want little kiddies buying Red Bull and shit now.
Yeah, well, like
Don't
if
know
you're
why.
really, especially if you're a kid, like you don't need that shit.
Oh yeah, that's just for old people like us.
Yeah, that's
I say being the youngest person here, probably.
yeah, you probably are. I heard Hazen popped in.
Yep, Hazen and now Nico is.
Oh my God, we're gonna have a full house tonight. Goodness gracious.
Hope you don't mind.
I'll be here briefly because, I'm still working on that thing, but I thought I'll just pop in and say hi.
Oh, always good to hear from you, man.
But yeah, so just I am currently bullying Dave in chess, and I have been for some time. Although I should,
we are enjoying that.
I should say I've got to go on League Chess because he's actually beat me more than I've beat him.
I was about to say,
because
you've told me that Dave has beaten one more than you because he never forfeits a game.
He's won. Yeah, he's won 37 times. I've won 29 times. That's because I resign. He doesn't.
Yeah, that's
that's
accurate to his personality, though. Like,
yeah, when in formal play, it's considered like bad manners to not resign if you're snookered. But I don't care.
Yeah, I don't give up. I'm gonna make them checkmate me. I will.
It sounds so fucking British. It's bad manners not to just surrender the match.
Yeah, it's poor form. Yeah, no, it's considered very poor. Like, if you've lost, right? If you've got a king and you've got like a queen, and a whole bunch of other things, it's like you've lost. Now you can try and force a draw, but that's like advanced stuff. Like even I don't know to force a draw.
I totally understand the sentiment. It's just funny. Like I don't know. It's just funny. I don't know how to explain it.
No, I get it.
It's my greatest asset as a player is being a rude prick. That's how I get by.
Don't worry, that's why I form some very merciless keikaku. It's all keikaku.
Yeah, that's you.
Part of me wants to be like, oh, I've been in a rut this week, blah blah blah. But it's like if I say that, then I feel like I'm also minimizing the fact that you're pulling some good moves. Like it's not just like, oh, I'm just bad. It's like, no, you're also getting pretty good. My advice
to you is really just to play more chess puzzles, because that will literally, like, chess is a game of pattern recognition, and you really only do improve by playing. You recognize patterns and you see things that you sometimes you just see it like first time you won't, but you will learn the patterns if you keep at it. And I try and play I don't know, a game a day, maybe at least against like a rando. Which
I don't think I'm gonna. I enjoy playing a lot, but I don't think in the near future I'm gonna play enough to really get good. Because like at this point I'm like noticing, I'm looking at live chess and thinking about my moves, and I'm like, I gotta get this page done, so I'll just have to close it out today. But man, it's so fun. Even losing is fun.
The good thing about correspondence is that you really can just take your sweet time. Like,
yeah, you can kind of mull that move over in your head while you're working on that page. That's what I do.
Yeah, it's fun.
What I hate is all these opponents I get that are like the public opponents, not you, that are polite, I guess, because I'll be like, hey, we're playing and it's fun, and I'm actually kind of starting to get a little bit of an edge, and then they'll just resign, and it's like, oh, come on, I wanted to pull the trigger.
It's considered really good form to, like, if you know you're done, you resign.
Yeah,
it's considered good form. That's why that's why you've won more than I have, because I just resign if I think I've lost. I'll just resign.
And a lot of those, if you would have kept playing, I almost certainly would have fucked something up, because that's kind of my style.
No, honestly, man, you're actually pretty good. Like, for someone who, as you say, even you admit you're quite casual. Like during lockdown, I picked this back up because I didn't have much else to do. But really, you're pretty good. To quote Oscar.
I like to think it's also teaching me the value of sacrificing others, because you have to learn how to sacrifice things in chess. So I'm like, chess pieces, people, same general principle.
No, don't.
I have learned. Yeah, like as you get more advanced, you do learn the value of sacrifices. But it's very situational. Like sometimes I might want to sacrifice a bishop to open up your king side. Then other times it might not be so good because I don't have the pieces to put on attack, press an attack. I know this is boring to the rest of you, but
Oh no, you guys can have your nerd talk.
Yeah, it's you learn the value of sacrifices, and sacrifices can be very, very powerful. I've won games through sacrifices before.
Well, yeah, like that's why you do it, to win ultimately.
Like I think once I did a queen sacrifice and I won.
Wow.
So
that's the big one.
Oh, it is. I know it is. You probably listened on the Knudsen video, right? When
Yes,
when
I
the
really
computer
enjoyed
looked at
that.
it, they'll just like randomly just sacrifice their queen for no reason. But
Well,
when
yeah.
GMs do it, of course, they do it with a specific goal in mind. And there are some games where GMs who play each other, they sacrifice the queen and they literally just win straight from that. You know, they don't see that. Oh, look, the queen. They realize they kind of fuck themselves.
That's like,
yeah, that's nuts.
what is it in Samurai Champloo? He's got that move that he does where it's the only way to hit the guy is he has to stab himself, and it goes through him and into the other guy. Like, that's like the same thing, same principle, but much faster.
I also think having like a logical mind, you'd be pretty good at it, but you know, you're too busy painting and.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
I don't know. I liked chess when I was younger, but I don't know. I might pick it up at some point. I'm a busy guy. Dave and I play video games in the morning because of my messed up immune system issues. Dave has chess throughout the day. We both have our different ways of coping.
Yeah, I know, I get that. If you ever did want, then I would be happy to teach you. Absolutely happy.
What was it? The guy.
Stream's offline.
Oh, what was that?
I'm sorry.
It says your stream's offline, Dave.
Is it?
It shouldn't be. It's
might be on my end.
It's not giving. I don't see anything.
Go live. Let me hit the go live button again. Confirm and go live.
Off that now.
Working on your stream. Update settings for YouTube. Fortunately, most people should be watching the Bonita stream anyway, but even so, let me.
You can watch me draw this dragon guy.
Update settings. Are you sure you want to go live? Yes. So now I should be live. Let me just jump over to Periscope so I can actually tell it to you.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I still got a coup. Just so you know.
Oh, you still have the. I hope it gets better. So now, do you think? Do you not have to take the vaccine now since you got the disease?
If offered, I'll take it. But how it works over here is literally the NHS will text me and say, "Yeah, you can set it up now." That's how it works.
Did you hear about the one guy that died? Like
the 86-year-old
Larry
dude.
King.
Yeah, that Colin sent us.
Several people that have died and had weird like stroke syndromes from it. I don't know if there's proof that it's from the fucking vaccine, but it's
the one Colin sent us was the guy was like, "Yeah, I want other people to do it. I want to be an example for the." It was some black baseball player. He's like, I want to be an example for the black community. And then 16 days later, he died, and it was like, "Oh, that's a little."
Well, I will be.
Like they put the headlines side by side, where it's like headline 1: Hank Aaron, hero, takes the vaccine to show you that it's totally fine. Then the headline on the right, 2 weeks later: Hank Aaron dead.
It's like, that's not good.
The juxtaposition there it seems to.
Because if I'm remote controlled by Bill Gates, I will at least know how it feels.
Yeah, tell us if you start having like Windows sound effects in your brain, that's when you know.
When you wake up, you hear the old 98 startup sound.
Yeah, like when you dream, it's like you're in Windows 98 or something. Yeah.
The big pasture background.
Here's a throwback. Does anybody else remember Windows RG?
No.
It
was like
Windows RG.
Okay, it was Windows Really Good Edition. It was like it was this thing you do where you would log on. It was like a website. You would go to like windowsrg.com, and it would be like a web page that would take over your whole browser. And it was just like a super fucked up OS that made it look like it was your whole screen because there was no like, oh, you're in a browser panel. It was the whole screen. So what you do is you just get on your friend's computer and go to Windows RG while they weren't looking, and then leave it. And then when they come back, they're like, what the fuck's wrong with my computer?
Oh, I'm not as old as you, Jaspering. So
I know.
I don't.
It's an old internet
My first
prank.
was a night.
Do you remember flipping people's screens upside down?
Oh yeah, that was good.
Control Alt and you use a directional thing. Yeah.
Yeah, we would. We would fuck with one of my friend's mom's computer, and she would get so mad. We changed the background to like weird shit. She'd be like, "No, I don't like it. Change it."
I made a guy break his keyboard at my old call center job because we flipped this as some fucking 60-year-old rodeo clown looking dude, and we fucking we turned his screen upside down, and he like none of the IT guys were there, so he just had no idea like what the fuck to do, and he got like a call from somebody, and after he got off the call, he like punched. We heard him like go bah! Like that, and then we fucking went around and looked like after he walked off and his keyboard like the corner of it was like broken off.
You could like do things like invert people's like you could invert their mouse controls or the arrows and shit, and people would get really fucking mad.
Mm-hmm.
Now I feel like I'm an old person because my idea of like my pranks were pre-computer. Like we would, those things on kitchen sinks where it's like the little sprayer. Where it's
Yeah,
like,
you put the rubber bands
you
around it, so
take
when you turn the sink on, it sprays them.
Yeah, my mom did not like that.
Yeah, mine neither.
How about like being film on toilet seat? Did you do that?
Oh, put the saran wrap.
Yeah.
Dude, it's so
That's
gross. It
nice,
just makes like a huge mess. It just puts like pee everywhere.
Yep.
Like I was down for pranks, but I didn't want to do anything to make God mad.
Have you ever done the fucking like snow in the office thing, the winter office shit?
No.
Where you put like you put baking soda or baking powder like at the foot of the fucking like little crack that's underneath somebody's office door, and then you just take one of those cans of compressed air and just spray the shit out of it, like just do that like 5 or 6 times, and then like it all goes in the air and settles, and when they go in their office the next day, it looks like everything got snowed on.
That's pretty good. We would fuck with our teachers. We'd steal stuff out of their desks and hide it in the ceiling tiles.
Thank you, Alonso, for the new like. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I got one earlier too. I think did that ever show? Oh, nope. I don't know. The likes only show up very quickly. They don't stay on the mini feed. So someone did that earlier. Thank you, whoever that was. It was too fast.
Yeah. Also, if anyone wants to do any super chats and guarantee that your comment gets read, be sure to super chat to whatever the link is. That Bone, do you have a link to your Streamlabs?
I do. It's actually still in the chat because the chat's not too active anymore. Streamlabs.com/bonitasuno/tip. I'm working on getting the chat bot set up. Chad is that because we were all like, oh, we need to get those set up, and then it turns out none of us know how. Chad's gotten his working a little bit. He's very excited about affiliate status. So
I feel like I got a bot half working, like it was kind of working on YouTube for a while, and then I think it stopped working, and I don't know why. So I gotta look at that.
Yeah,
again.
they're such a pain. That's why I think I said it to Haas, and I was like, yeah, I'm always afraid to change anything because it might break the stream.
Two boom is
the chat bot won't take any computer resources.
I'm not worried about the computer resources. I'm worried about like just something being like, oh, now your stream won't launch because CSS.error 55, like just any computer thing.
Some weird like what the fuck is this shit error? Yeah.
And I have to spend.
What if you messed something up on a computer and it started taking like your actual resources, like stuff
like your wood pile?
And you're like, oh man, it's a good thing I got all this canned food in the basement. No, your computer just like turns around and like shuffles out with.
It stole all my spam.
Open like Minecraft.
My computer stole all my spam. Yeah.
All my spam meat.
Spam. Spam.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
I know it's spam.
It's like a can of spam.
Oh, dude, I have cans of spam. I like spam. You grill that shit up. It's good.
See some play on words. Get it?
Yeah.
Because spam. Email.
We have to return to plays on words because in the broader culture, I feel like hypocrisy has reached a critical mass where it's imploded on a singularity, and now there's like a hypocrisy event horizon where it's no longer funny or witty or like insightful. It's just like this like a encroaching thing where everyone is like so hyper hypocritical all the time that it's now just like you look at it and it's just like, yeah, that has no emotional charge whatsoever.
Yeah.
There's like a hypocrisy.
Well,
So, like, am I the only one that feels that way? Because, like, right now everyone's like, oh, what? You guys said this when Trump was doing this, but now that Biden's doing it, oh, and it's just like no one, like, does anyone feel anything when they do that?
I think that nobody, there are no wider principles, or at least, how would I call it? Like, fucking, if you're like, I don't know, it's like, people have bought into like the cult of advantage, and they see it, and they see. Part of politics is basically like a war. Because in war, there are a few real rules, It's more like about what works for me at the time, and I don't know. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah. Like it's expedient.
There are no. It's the cult of expediency. That's a good word for it.
That's a good term. Me and Billy are always coming up with little terms for like, ooh, what is it? Mine from this week was aesthetic moralizing. That was mine for the week. Aesthetic moralizing, because I caused an entire Warhammer chat to collapse.
I saw that.
What
that
the
was
fuck?
Yeah.
We're having a nice little wilderness escape day, and then I walked into that. You gotta tell that story.
That was a little weird. Well, yeah, because I'm on Telegram. I'm in a lot of chat rooms, and I'm basically in two types. I'm in furry chats, where I basically advertise. I'm like, hey, here's what I'm working, because it's a lot of like, hey, art, porn chats, and I'm like, hey, here's the last thing I finished. That's how I get the vast majority of my commissions right now. And then the other ones I'm in little hobby chat rooms for guys who build models or play Warhammer or build Gundams. And I'm like, all right, these are my spots. And in one of my Warhammer chats, some crazy culture warrior got invited in somehow and just started shitting up the place immediately. And I was just like, whoa, because it never happened before in that chat. It was always nice, it was cozy, everybody was cool. And this person was a lunatic. And I was just like, I can't deal with these people anymore. Not in my Warhammer chats. I like this too much. So I made a brief message where I was like, hey, read through the chat earlier. I don't like this stuff. I didn't see any meaningful pushback. I'm out. Have fun. And that was it. I was like, because I just do not deal with those. Because what are you going to do? Like, tell them, like, you're being hypocritical or you're wrong. Have you ever seen a culture warrior back down? Like, no, that's not going to happen. Yeah. So I was just like, whatever. I've got other Warhammer chats. I'll be fine. I was still upset because I was like, no, don't let, because I watched it unfold and the admins were just like, do. It's like, just kick these people out. You don't have to be nice to them. They're crazy.
Like, I am actually a little curious because I don't understand, like, how did this Danger Hair even get invited to that group to begin with? Like, who thought that was a good idea?
I
the right dicks.
I don't know.
Is it a girl?
It was, because well, maybe.
Somebody wanted to fuck her.
It was... No, you'll love this. They were 420 lesbian witch mom. Like, it's like, oh, you're all my least favorite word. Like, lesbian witch mom is my least favorite combination of words. Like, if I see 2 out of those 3 in someone's profile, I'm like, oh, you're gonna be unbearable. Like,
well, that's unfortunate.
It's true though. They like, you see that? I'm a lesbian witch mom. Like, and it's like, fuck. Oh, you're gonna be really obnoxious. Got it. And they were.
What does it even mean?
Always use it. Like, there's a term where you use like called like goons, but then again, boom, Kit's history is like as a goon, but
I was a goon.
Yeah. The whole goon way was where you never capitalize words because you're too cool to.
Yeah.
Well, that was sort of speech.
Well, Jeff K wouldn't have capitalized any words either, so.
But really, I'd call it is like a basic Twitter bitch. It's like being sardonic and being. I don't know. Yeah.
She just got in there and was really aggressive, and people were very clearly uncomfortable. But the admins were just like, "Oh well," and I was like, "Nah, I'm out." And
wasn't he literally saying stuff like, "All men
are cowards." Games Workshop is staffed by shitty men who make shitty decisions. And then when people were like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "You just don't understand because you don't know the history. I know the history really well." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, you took a college class." It was just super gay shit, and I was like, I can't stand being around these people. They freak me the fuck out. They regularly try to.
Imagine going to a college class and thinking that you know how to fix the world.
Yeah, I mean they do, and they and they've stalked and harassed me in the past.
Man.
They've ruined my fucking business opportunities for 7 years, so I was out. Apparently, and I've done this before, and usually nothing happens. Like, I'll get a message or two, and someone's like, "Oh, it sucks that you left," and I'm like, "Well, I can't be around that stuff. It's too horrible." But this time, I got a lot of messages, and apparently, while I was gone, the whole group collapsed to infighting, and they just reformed without the problem elements, you might say. And I was like, "Oh."
Did you rejoin? Then?
I did. Oh yeah, no. Well, the original group is gone. They deleted it.
No, I mean like the new.
I did. No, I was one of the first members because I was like, well, I can't. I just explained it to people. I was like, I cannot be around that stuff. Like, it's too awful. And for the first time in a long time, enough people agreed with me that something happened and it reformed.
I think the sentiment is more widespread than you would think. It's just that.
Almost no one likes those motherfuckers.
Well, they don't, but they don't do any. People don't do anything about it. They just bitch in chat rooms.
It's because
and do nothing.
It's because people look to someone. Uh-oh.
Yeah,
we got a lag problem.
Yeah,
sorry.
We'll do the best we can.
Yeah, you're good. You go ahead.
So what do you do? Yeah, Billy. What do you do? What happens when you piss off someone who's crazy?
They just
they'll come at you as hard as they can, and they're fucking crazy. They don't give a fuck.
They're always crazy. Yeah. They're not. You're not gonna cure them.
No, of course not. But
you can't
I think it'll become like a virtue to. I think most people get that those types are unhinged. Like that Harlan Ellison quote I sent you about the email.
Which one? You sent me all sorts of funny shit. Which one was it?
It was I could try and find a quote, but it's something like you get an email that should have been written, like, for all intents and purposes, should have been written in crayon by someone who.
Yeah. I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
It's the same sort of phenomenon. It's like in real life, you can determine that that guy's crazy, right? But
I'm very good at determining who's crazy. The issue is that not everybody else is.
Yeah, but
sometimes they are. It's a weird phenomenon where, like, sometimes people can tell, but they just don't say anything because they look for somebody in authority to, like, well, surely this person who, like, is the admin of this thing, they'll know that this person's nuts, and then they just
that's the other
don't
thing
ever do anything.
Is the admin of the chat also messaged me, and they're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, like, that this happened. What do you want to do?" And I was like, "Well, I can't be around that stuff." Like, and they just kept being like, "Oh, I don't know what to do. It's so horrible." And I'm like, "Just boot the one person. Just boot the one person." And they just would not do it. And the whole group collapsed, and it's like,
don't let. He points out, don't guy.
Yeah, exactly. It's this weird thing where it's like, well, you were being rude or aggressive, and it's like, no,
I just keep your fucking fandoms.
It's just the way I described it, I think was it's like someone's setting a bomb in the middle of the room, and you're the only person who's quote unquote rude enough to say, hey, maybe we don't want that in here. Like, well, that's the bomb's right. That's what it does. You should just let the bomb explode. Why are you so mean to the bomb? Well, it's gonna kill us all. What? Yeah, so that's what bombs do. I'm like, we don't have to
now because initially my understanding is you basically just said, hey, I'm not down for this. Bye. Yep. So why did the group just, like, incinerate itself after that point? Like, did things just go smooth as soon? Like, were you the problem person? Because if you were the problem and then you left, you'd think the group would have been, blissful after that.
It's just the admins were just unwilling to boot one person because, and I don't know why the admin was afraid of it, but maybe they were like, oh no, this person will try to cancel me, or there'll be a problem for me, but they didn't, and it was like, just do not let these people into your life. Don't let them in your house, your private life, your business, anything. Keep them the fuck away from you, because, like I said, they're not people. They're living bombs that are going to detonate and destroy everything you love.
Yeah, they're all part of Heaven's Smile from Killer 7. They're fucking like... these people, man, like they really will. Like, I've had people who are supposedly, I'm super right wing, I love Ben Shapiro, shit like that. Like, the people in general just will get, for some reason, even like other things, like when TeamSpeak and Skype and stuff was around, they will get like disproportionately pissed off and vengeful when they get kicked from a Discord specifically for some reason.
Well, I don't think I think they don't have enough going on in their lives. Well, I sent you the one.
Well, clearly not.
I sent you the message. Dave saw it too, where the guy wrote that, like, 400-page diatribe. The reason I was banned from the Dreamkeepers Discord, and it was just like, this is insane. It was very, very long and very, very detailed and very, very.
Did he say something like that you needed to go to Christ or something?
Excuse me?
Didn't he say something about that? About you needing to go to Christ or something?
He was a very traditional type, and he did not like the gays.
You need to go to Christ?
He was a trad kind of guy. He was very against the gays, and he just could not stop bringing that up. And people were like, like, some of the admins are gay. And, he's like, well, here's my very logical reason for why they're wrong for being gay. And it's like, no, these aren't good reasons. Please stop bringing this up. And yeah, he was very much he was a weird guy.
Number one, I don't like it.
No, and that was in his big, huge Google Doc. I have it saved because it was huge, and I was like, oh my god.
I save all those things like that people do when they talk about me.
Well, and
I'm gonna print them when I actually buy a house. I'm gonna print them out and frame them.
Well, I just keep them in case, because sometimes these people show back up, and it's like, hey, I remember who you, because they expect you to forget who they are, or they're just like, well, I didn't say that, and it's like, no, you did, and I still have it. They're like, so it's if someone sends you a crazy diatribe, always hold on to it, and send it to a few of your friends, because they'll hold on to it too, and then you got backup copies.
Or even if you need to explain to a third party, like if that ever becomes necessary, you don't want to just be like, well, just trust me. Trust me, this person's crazy. just because I said so.
That too.
It's,
Yeah.
It's good to just feel like,
Because
well,
that doesn't work, and the worst. It's the worst. Like when you know someone's nuts, and you know they're trying to like fuck somebody's world up, and then you're just like, yeah, they're nuts. Well, why? What makes you think that? And you have nothing to show.
Yeah.
Always hold. It sucks because you don't want to hold on to it because it's upsetting. Like some of those.
Yeah.
But
it's just
worth
like you
having.
don't want to be like that, like weighing you down, like having to think about shit like that.
Yeah.
Just there's a crazy person out there who wants to like kill me,
or stalk me, or harass me, or love me. You know, in some of the cases.
Yeah. Well, they want to kill you, but they can't like legally do that. So it's like less time, less trouble if they just stalk you or like fucking throw firecrackers at your window or something.
You never
Sometimes
know.
You've read
just have
You've been
to.
publicly shamed, right?
I've read what?
So you've been publicly shamed.
Oh yeah, I've read it. Of course.
Yeah.
I was the one who got everyone.
I haven't seen that.
It's
I read it. Whatever the fuck. This is the movie or book?
It's a book by John Ronson from 2015. It's very good. You'd probably get a lot out of it.
About this, yeah.
Yeah,
I need to read that actually. I got so many fucking books I gotta read. I gotta read your book, Kit.
Oh, it's okay. You'll get. Well, we got
I'm almost finished.
Oh.
Almost finished with Wayward Astronomer, and then I gotta move on to False Start.
Flash Strat.
Right now, I'm on The Hero of 1,000 Faces by Joseph Campbell, who Cyber,
classic.
You know, got me that. Very nice. It's very nice. It's a classic storybook. Well,
I gotta keep a list of these books. Well, all right, well, the first one's called what? So You've Been Publicly Shamed?
By John Ronson. Yes.
You might know him as like he discovered Alex Jones.
He did. He was the guy who.
Oh, he's the guy who wrote Fanatic or not Fanatic. What was it called?
Them.
Adventures
with Extremists.
Yeah.
From 1999, him and Alex Jones go to Bohemian Grove together, and it's.
The book starts with the sentence, "One day I discovered a man who will definitely not be banned on social media."
He's talked about it. He's like, I would have never predicted back then that Alex Jones would have gone the way he did, or that he would have been as important of a cultural figure. He was like, yeah, I just thought he was like a fun little independent guy who was a little out there. He liked him though. Him and Alex were friends. They haven't seen each other in a while, but they got along. But they've taken very divergent paths in life. But
I would recommend them. Them is very good. I actually know the first guy.
Thank you, Sean Staines, for the comment.
Omar Bakri, he lives where I'm from. Because I
really?
John Ronson has the same sort of houses that I live in.
I know. That's the jihadi he goes fishing with, right?
Yep, Omar Bakri. I think he's in prison in Lebanon right now. Because the Lebanese government wants him.
No, that's the first chapter. Is he's this little reporter and he goes fishing with the jihadis in the UK that hate America, they hate the UK, they hate the West, and then they also hate Jews. And then he's fishing with them on a boat alone. And he mentions that he's Jewish, and it's just the most.
He catches a big old fish and he goes, "Oi, vey!"
No, he mentions that he's Jewish, and they all just look at him, and he's like, "Oh shit!" But then they immediately. Well, the most interesting thing happens is they all start immediately rationalizing. They're like, "Well, you're not like one of those Jews, or it's just like, oh god."
Yeah, and in the book, you meet some very interesting people. Like I found out about Ruby Ridge. Where was the other one?
He goes to Waco. Yeah, he meets all sorts.
Yeah, he goes to Waco.
He goes skeet shooting with the KKK.
Oh yeah.
And there's that guy who's trying to take the new leader of the KKK who's trying to make it a movement about love. That's his whole thing, and it just is not working at all. This is all real stuff too. It's crazy.
Yeah, you can't really
I recommend it.
Like that
it's
around,
a
can you?
really good book. Like John Ronson overall is very solid.
I've read every single John Ronson book, some of them multiple times. I love him to pieces. He's awesome.
Yeah, I would recommend it. I think it's like a prelude to what comes today, because Alex Jones and all the extreme worldviews.
Yeah. Well, you read some of his more recent stuff, like Elephant in the Room or Last Days of August, and it's all very timely. But a lot of it, even like you read Them, and that's a book that's 21 years old and it's still good.
It's very timely. And of course, he meets with the what's his face, the director of American History X. That was a very interesting one.
In Lost at Sea, it's when he's going through Stanley Kubrick's estate after he dies. That's an interesting part too. I've read, like I said, I'm a
John Ronson, very good. I recommend it to everyone in chat.
Yay! I get to talk about the
Also,
weird
shout
writers
out
I
to
like.
Pioneer.
Snake Pit, brought to you by John Ronson.
Oh my God, I do anything to meet that.
John, baby, if you're out there.
No, he responds to me on Twitter and stuff. He's retweeted me, everything. It's great.
Oh,
all right. Well, I've got some news for you if you really want to talk to this guy. But the first step involves you have to pretend you're in the KKK.
Yeah, I gotta be more extreme.
Got it. I got the accent. I got the look. I can do it.
No, I can't do that. John will be
Wait,
upset.
we just need to. You even speak to David Duke in the book. I remember.
I think so. Yeah.
David Duke is like, well, why are you covering him and not me? I'm the more extreme one.
Yeah, they argue with each other. Yeah. Oh my God, the infighting with the crazy people. It's something else. That book's so wild. Oh my God, is that Isabella? Hey, what's up, girl? Are you gonna call me gay again?
A woman.
It's gay.
Yeah, hi, Is. Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
Dear Lord. Yeah,
Go to another channel.
Isabella pops in. Isabella, another
smelly girl.
Isabella.
Drive by Isabella is great.
Isabella, another member of the Vivid professional family. Bone, has he retweeted your false start stuff? That would be no, he never has. He's not much of a comic fiction guy, but I'll ask him questions or leave a comment that I try to be insightful, and he'll retweet it with an answer or say, "Oh, that's a good point." It's made me feel very good that I've been able to be retweeted by basically my favorite nonfiction author. Sean Murphy retweeted my Patreon once, though. That was cool.
Hey, nice.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
He announced that he was closing commissions, and then he retweeted my Patreon as like an alternative. I was like, "Oh, thanks, Sean. That was really cool of you." I think I went outside and ran a lap around my house when that happened. I love Sean Murphy, obviously.
Not a lot of people in the industry do, but
never gotten any. The only two I haven't gotten are Chuck Palahniuk and Weird Al. Those are the only two I haven't off my list of people I want to have cool interactions with.
Oh yeah, Chuck Palahniuk is great. I'm reading Rant right now.
Oh, Rant!
Did you see the thing where Weird Al like drew a picture of a girl he knew in like elementary school,
and she still has it? Yes,
she still had the picture. Yeah, and she contacted him on Twitter. Was like, "Yeah, that was me. Here's the picture."
I mean, yeah, if you had a portrait drawn by Weird Al Yankovic, wouldn't you hold on to it?
It's so funny that like that person saw that and like was like, "Oh shit,
I still have that drawing."
Yeah.
It's a small world. But no, I'm currently reading Rant by Chuck Palahniuk. It's really good.
I love
really good.
I got my mom The Invention of Sound by Chuck for Christmas. My dad started to read it, but he thought it was as he said, it was too horrific. He's like, you can't get this for your mother. I'm like, it's about murderers. She loves that stuff. He's like, it's too awful. These people are terrible. I'm like, yeah, that's why it's interesting. It was really funny.
I got Coyote Survivor, because Survivor was really good.
Survivor's hard to put down. Like, that book has such a good opening where it opens with a guy who's hijacked a plane who's like, all right, I've hijacked a plane, there's nobody on it, and I'm recording my life story. Let's go.
And I told you, like, because there was like a very subtle thing at the ending, wasn't there?
Yeah, I didn't even put that together, that the guy probably likely survived. I was like, oh, I guess he's dead, but you convinced me he does not die. I was like,
yeah, and of course I showed you Chuck kind of confirmed it.
Yeah. Oh, I love Chuck.
Yeah, I like Chuck Palahniuk. He's got like real style to his prose. He's got like, that very like lucid and like.
I read Fight
like,
Club in high school for a class I was in, and that's probably one of the biggest influences on my art to this day was because that you got
to pick the books you read.
No, we had some electives in high school, especially when we were seniors, and I took a class called Best Novels, where we read best-selling novels, and we would talk about how they applied to like the lessons we learned in our regular English classes. And one of our books we read in Best Novels was Fight Club because it was a contemporary bestseller. We also read One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Shibumi by Trevanian, which is the book that John Wick is based off of, and The Godfather. Like, all sorts of really, really good books. Who's logging
I wish good books. All we did was fucking Steinbeck, which Steinbeck's fine. He's pretty good.
I like Steinbeck, yeah. No, don't get me wrong.
Mice and Men. Oh.
Who pulled me back in? I'll kill you, says Fairies. Oh, someone apparently put her back in the chat for a second.
Humiliation.
Nice, I've been reading more recently because I just haven't had the time or energy to. But now I've got through some books. I've read a bad book recently, but I don't want to.
No.
Kit read my review.
Which do I know? Oh, I'm trying to remember.
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Let's just say you have something to do with the book.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes, yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
if anyone wants a quick review, I said it gets so lost in the weeds. The Park Service is still looking for it.
I mean, we can talk about it. The author. We can talk about it. The author. No, because Dave tried to read it too. That was the Always Gray in Winter book, and like, what am I gonna do? The author has me blocked. I don't know why. This was a book I did the cover for, and then.
Wait, when did he block you? You're his cover artist. I don't understand that.
I don't know when. I figured it out a little less than a year ago because I wanted to ask him how progress was because he really wanted me as the cover artist for book 2. And while I had heard mixed things about the book itself, I liked working with Mark, and I was looking forward to doing cover number 2, but suddenly I was blocked, and I have no idea why. The only reason I figured it out was because one of the Vivid crew tagged me in a post where it was like, oh, tag a bunch of people you like, and they tagged him as well. And I was like, oh, how's Mark doing? And it was like, you are blocked. And I was like, what the? And I even mentioned it in the thread. I was like, oh my God, Mark's got me blocked. What's going on? Does anybody know? And the person
his book did come out from Thurston Howell. Maybe it's when that one editor went berserk and started slandering you. Maybe he actually decided to jump on board that train.
That's very likely. There's just no way for me to know. People have said, "Oh, I'll ask," and I've never heard back. So I have no idea what happened or what Mark believes. It sucks.
It alleviates a little bit of my guilt for not actually getting feedback on that book. It's like I tried to read it, I just couldn't really get into it, and but now I don't feel so bad about that.
Okay. No, you don't. If there's been a huge misunderstanding, I'd love to work it out. But as it stands, there's not much I can do. So
Yeah.
But Kit's read my review.
It was pretty harsh.
No, I honestly think that I tried to read it 3 times, and all 3 times I had to put it down before I even got to the middle. It's a 300-page book, which is quite short. Not that long. All things considered. It was. I couldn't get to it. I couldn't get to the meat because it's all flashbacks and interfamilial drama that you do not care about. It gives me no reason to care.
Couldn't get that far into it myself, but I want to say that a lot of it could be. I don't want to necessarily just rip on the author. A lot of it could be due to I'm going to say negligent editorial, because most of it for me was the sentences were structured in such a convoluted way that it made it literally difficult to get through. You have to have very clear sentence structure when you expect someone to read a ton of sentences in a novel. Sentence structure is huge, and so I don't even want to say, oh, it's a bad author, because especially a first-time author, it's if they get a draft and they have the basic story down, if you have editorial, the editor is supposed to look at that and be like, oh, you just need to clean up the sentence structure, this is unreadable, and then get back to me and we'll look at the story, But that apparently, that was not. It's so weird too, because that book had an editor. It's did they just not read it?
Well, Thurston Howell typically publishes furry, gay, erotica content. This might have just been I don't think they knew how to handle this kind of book. That would be my theory. I don't know. I used to work very closely with them. We had a very regrettable falling out that I think was entirely unnecessary, and of course I'd be willing to completely rework or talk things through, but talking takes 2 people, 2 sides, so
You see, Kit, none of this would be an issue if you just had the right opinions.
I know, Colin, I try, but then I invite you over and you red pill me on all this stuff, and what can I do?
I mean, I heard there's a summer camp that's starting up that you can go to.
Yeah.
Oh, Correct Opinion Summer Camp Incorporated.
Correct Opinion Summer
Yeah.
Camp. Yeah, man, we should go to that. Colin, we could go together. We could be buddies.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's fortunate that you'd want to go because I have news for you.
I was gonna say I'm not going. I have the right opinions. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, hold on. Chat has some interesting comments about this. Yeah, you know, I've known this stuff for a while. I don't bring it up necessarily initially because maybe it's a raw thing, but it's been so long. I was like, does anybody even care anymore? Like, am I gonna rub anybody the wrong? Whatever. You know, I'd rather just solve things. But if there's no option for me to do that, what do you want me to do? Let's see. I follow that guy too, and I don't think he's ever said anything about it either. He's talking about the author of Always Gray in Winter. Yeah, he's never called me out to my knowledge. Someone else asking, "Oh shit, Mark blocked you?" Wow. Yeah, because Ferret, you met him with me at MFF, and we got along great. So I don't know. That particular
maybe his finger slipped for all we know. I don't
yeah,
know.
like, and if that's what happened, all right, we'll just work it out. If you heard something wrong, just talk to me. It's not a big deal. That particular editor is a total lunatic. I've dealt with him myself, and he's someone you just cannot win with. Well, I know, I've heard your stories. I also started the book and then put it down. Now I don't feel bad about not finishing. Yeah, well.
No, honestly, I will honestly say, hand on my heart, you know, whatever. It's honestly one of the worst books I've read.
Oh, no.
Honestly.
I got nominated for an award for that cover, too. Me and Dave were competing against each other for best cover.
I saw.
It was my
No, the
cover
cover was
for
nice.
Always Gray in Winter and Dave's cover for Wayward Astronomer. We were both nominated in the same category.
I purchased it because I was supporting a friend, and I
Oh,
thought, hey, this is a nice cover. It'll look nice on a shelf.
It's a good.
It just
I mean,
turned
it's a
out
good
something-
cover. Like, it was a cool cover.
Oh, very.
Thank you.
Some of the other reviews said that honestly, it's.
I remember you pointed that out. People were like, "Oh, well, the book sucked, but I like the cover." It's like, yeah.
honestly, the contents were. I would call it verging on unreadable. You know, because what's it? The main character is her only traits I remember is that she's in the United States Navy. She can turn into a werecat, of course. You know, that's obvious.
It's a furry. Yeah. It's like a Tom Clancy-esque like furry book.
Yeah, but I couldn't get past like the flashbacks and where the part where nothing happens. You know, because I like things to happen in my story. I do like things to happen in my stories. I know it's quite quaint. You just have to put in enough. You have to tick enough boxes, and people go, "Wow, I feel so related to the character." But you know, it's. I would call it verging unreadable. You know, I couldn't.
I couldn't even read it when I did the cover. They just kind of gave me a description and some refs, and were like, "Okay, do something with this." And I was like, "Okay," you know, and that's pretty typical for cover illustration. Is you don't typically get the full text to read. Not that you'd have time anyway, usually to read it.
I want to try to be like, if people come and they're like, "Oh, what do you think about this?" It's like I want to be encouraging to authors. So like, if you're ever an author and you put something out there and this is the feedback you get, that's going to be really painful to hear after you've poured like hours and days and years of your life into crafting something like this. But I would say bite the bullet and listen to it, because if you don't give up, if you want to keep improving, you've got to know what's going wrong. Just like if you're going to try to fix a car engine, you got to know what's going wrong. And if you open up to it and understand it a little better, you can improve and you can fix that stuff going forward. So it's totally doable. And
I would also agree, if Mr. Engels is listening for some reason.
That's right, Mark Engels. That was his full name. I was trying to remember. I was like, Mark Hewlett?
I would encourage him to not stop. I've written stories that I'm not happy with, and I wouldn't call them messes, but it is a mess. But I've written stories I don't like, right? But at least I just had the foresight to not publish it.
Well, yeah,
That's me.
There's a reason I didn't submit the original False Start 8-page comic to Vivid. Like,
yeah, you know, it's like you got to fuck up to learn. Exactly. And do you know what? I will tell him, keep writing. You know.
Yeah, why
not? Just have things happen in your book, in your stories, because I was fucking bored.
That's a good point. Have things happen.
It sounds mean, but I would rather be told straight that, hey, your shit sucks, than be told, well, you know, it could be better, and, you know, I'd rather be told.
Yeah,
no,
I hate candy-coated fucking criticism shit of things.
It feels nasty, and I've, you know, some people are really bad at that, but I would rather be told straight out, yeah, your shit sucks, do better. You know?
Yeah, no,
that's you know, people.
Oh my God, people are posting some. Let me read some of this. This is good stuff. At MFF, there was some guy who had a booth where he was selling his book and was trying to give some guy a free copy of his 4th novel. Wonder if that was the same book. I don't think so. Mark, I don't think had a booth. He would give me copies and I would sell them. And I've sold out of all my copies because people, they see that, they're like, oh, that's cool. There's like a cool Werecat chick. I want to read that. You know, it's enticing. It's not like super sexual or anything, but it's a neat cover. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I don't know what happened there. The cover does look great. Shame about the book, though. Yeah, I know. What do you do? I'm surprised that there's beef that he wouldn't change the cover art. Well, you'd have to pay somebody, and apparently that was the most expensive cover in Thurston Howell Publishing's history was my cover. So, you know.
Let's just say,
Oh, I could believe that.
I don't like some publishing companies are, you know,
cheap.
Like not everyone is actually a real publishing company. Some people are just like, it's something they do on the side for fun, and there's not anything necessarily wrong with that, but it's like, you know, no one's getting paid for their work over there.
Hold on, there's a really good comment coming up that I have to read. I love the cover. It's about the book. Yeah, kind of tempted to try to read it. Yeah, go for it, man. More like always gay in winter. Am I? Yeah, really. But this is the one I wanted to read because Cyver, a buddy of mine, bought a copy of the book and got Mark and I think me to sign it. He doesn't even. But Mark wrote a note inside the book for him, and it says he recopied it for me here. It says, "Cyver, thanks for reading. Bonitis has been a great fellow to work with. Any friend of his is a friend of mine. Hope you enjoy and review on Amazon."
I guess that didn't last.
Yeah, let's say that didn't age well.
Oh yeah. But my comment, I think apparently it's the top comment on the UK version of Amazon. So you know.
Oh really?
If you wanna read it, it's on there. Oh yeah, it's got a few paragraphs. I won't read it out here because you know it'll take too long, and I'm not much of an orator. But if you want to read it, go on Amazon.co.uk, search up "Always Grey in Winter," and yeah, you might be able to see it in the comments.
Yeah, there's some.
And of course,
I've read some.
Under myself.
Well, I didn't look at
verified
the
purchase
reviews. I didn't look at the reviews until you were showing them to me, and they're harsh. Like you know, but people are gonna be harsh.
Yeah. Oh, I can read the first paragraph, but that's about it. It's short enough.
We don't want to. We don't need a monologue.
Yeah, you don't.
Shotgun
you don't-
who was
don't
saying
want that.
someone
I'm
was
not
selling a
much.
book at. And the guy who was saying that someone was trying to sell a book. I want to say the book was about vampires or drag. Nah, this was no. Different book.
Well, if you want to read it, UK Amazon and look it up, you know,
There
you
you
can find
go.
it yourself.
Or buy a copy and leave your own review. You know, if Mark makes some money, that's great. Maybe he'll eventually contact. I would love to talk to him. He was always lovely to talk with. I am not really mad at him because I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's just been because you know if someone came to him and told him something overwhelmingly horrible about me. And he was just scared. Like, it sucks that he didn't think to contact me. But if he's just like, oh my God, someone told me Bonitis is a puppy rapist. Like, yeah, I'd understand, like, he blocking me. But it's like, no, I didn't rape any puppies. Don't worry.
And I will say, to be fair, that's one thing that we know happens is that people from this crowd in the furry community will go around and try to turn people against us in back channel conversations. So it's fully possible that that's what happens. You know, maybe he fell for some slander.
Well, and I know one of the and this is a real thing that Thurston Howell has a number of sensitivity readers. That's a real thing. You can look it up. Vivid does not employ any sensitivity readers because that's super gay.
Yeah, I don't believe that you should be stymied because who will volunteer for such positions, right?
Like Billy, you've read a number of people. Billy, you've read a number of Chuck Palahniuk novels. Can you imagine if those had sensitivity readers? Like, what would they even be? What would they even be? Like,
it would be shop.
Well, it's too bad that they're not sensitive to good grammar and sentence structure. But oh well.
One of the sensitivity readers like really doesn't like me. Had it out for me, and that was where this whole fight started. So because I brought it up with the head editors, I was like, I don't think it's appropriate for one of the people from the company to be doing this stuff in public, and which I think is fair. And then the company was like, no, it's they can totally do that. And I was like, well, I don't think it's right. Could you at least talk to them for me? And they said, I'll think about it. And I never heard from the company again. So make your own conclusions.
You see, the way again, as I said, it's like, who do you think will volunteer for like positions like that? The most sensitive, like crime.
Yeah, it would have to be. It'd have to be someone with a bone to pick, right? Like
out there, you know.
The most petty and power-hungry people will volunteer for that.
Yeah, because like it sounds like
jobs moderating Facebook.
Because it sounds like a miserable job, like sensitivity reader. Like to most normal people, that sounds like, oh, I don't want to do that. That sounds miserable. But I guess there's a very particular, very unpleasant type of person who wants to do that.
It makes me think of like the World Peace sketch with the cop, and it's like, you know, we're all society's garbage men, and he walks through with like 2 pistols at all time and shit. It's like, it makes me think of that.
Yeah. They're very aggressive about the sensitivity reading too, and I don't think that's necessarily conducive to good literature.
Well, I know what it does result in usually. Every time I see a company where it's like, oh, we're getting sensitivity readers, it's like you can put it on a timer. Within a few months
when
to a
is
year,
that going to detonate?
There's going to be all these public. No, but it is. They always wind up having like, oh, we're so sorry. We should have known better. Like, this got through our radar, and people have corrected us. And we, you know, like you can never be pure enough when that spiral gets started up. So if you put that stuff out there and you signal that you're trying to obey this, set of belief systems and strictures for creative expression, you're never going to match up. Someone's always going to have some complaint, and so it always ends with like abject public apologies and begging for forgiveness from the companies that were trying to placate this audience to begin with.
Yeah, and Cyver has heard my opinions on like trying to sanitize stories, because I believe that a story, to be truly effective, should be confrontational. Well, confrontational. It should be grating. It should be offensive. You should feel disgusted reading something because at least, you know, the author's done their job. You know?
You should feel challenging things in certain types of literature. You know, if you're just reading something fun, you know, whatever. But
I don't know if like constantly agreeing to be held hostage by the most sensitive people imaginable will make good stories.
No,
you know, like it's like if Rockstar said, "Yes, please, Tipper Gore, please come and we'll remove any references that you don't like." You know,
well, especially any story that's trying to say something like profound or meaningful, it has to deal with truth, and truth is profane.
I mean,
like one of my favorite stories from the Harlan Ellison anthology, it literally features the main character who's bisexual. This was 1969 or 7.
Oh, wow, way ahead of its time.
No, but not only that, he bangs his own mother. His own mother rapes him like semi-constantly. She takes all his money too because he's an artist. He gets a girl pregnant, and she keeps on trying to perform an impromptu abortion on it, and he's trying to stop her from doing that. It's a very obscene book, but I got the meaning. It was something like moving out of your... Basically, it's like the old hero journey, right? Like, move out of your toxic environment and shit. It was a very bizarre... it was a very bizarre story, but it was honestly one of my favorites, because I things during it.
When it comes to like darkness and evil and all these hideous elements of the human experience, it's like, for me, that's my favorite place to deal with those things, is in fiction. I would rather not deal with them anywhere else. Fiction's the best place for me to...
Or even someone else talking, like, what is it? Elie Wiesel, he wrote about his experiences in the Holocaust. Do you want a sensitivity reader reading that guy's book about being in a concentration camp? Like, oh, this was too rough. It's like, well, no, this really happened to me. You know.
If someone wants to read that story, it's called Riders of the Purple Wage by Philip Jose Farmer.
I've never heard of that one.
Philip Jose Farmer, he's like a forerunner of sexuality in science fiction. He's like,
oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
And actually, just talking generally about like sensitivity readers and censorship in books, I feel like the topic is especially relevant because at this point, no one's even debating it anymore. Like social media, blatant, rampant censorship, not just of like tone and like, oh, bad idea. Like, no, if you're any kind of anti-establishment opinion, like you're going to get censored. If you're on social media, you're like, so that debate is over. Censorship is absolutely in force. Yeah. And I think actually we quoted Scott Adams because he said something that I thought was like very pertinent, and he retweeted it. So yeah, but I quoted Scott Adams because he said in a Paracoat, a podcast like within the last week or so, that the last the last place you can have freedom is books. Like that's the last place. You can say stuff in a book that you cannot say on social media. You can say stuff in a book that you cannot say on TV. A book is where you can actually express yourself and deal with some of these difficult ideas.
For some reason, you can still get away with it in the book. For whatever reason.
And I mean, that's why I think it's especially important. Well, as long as you have a publishing company with guts, which, that's kind of what we're about. So that's why I think it's especially important as people who are working in books to, stand for creative freedom, stand up for our authors, even if they want to say things that are a little bit pushing the boundary. And it's instead of jumping on the trend of like, oh, what if we just make everything super sensitive and everything caters to the most sensitive potential possible reader in existence. It's like, no, there's other companies that can tackle that demographic. We're going to be letting authors deal with some more interesting, sharp, potentially harsh things.
This does give me
I have some good news.
Oh, what do you got, Nico? What do you got?
Sensitivity readers do not exist in Dutch publishing.
Good.
In any way, shape, or form.
Well,
all right.
Well, like I was talking about earlier with the chat rooms, don't let them in. Like, you see one of those fuckers, you get rid of that, because it's like a disease. That shit takes over, and because people will not kick it, they won't boot it. They're just like, well, we got to be nice to the person who's a bomb in the living room. It's like, no, get rid of the bomb in the living room. You don't want it.
And what they aspire to be is that layer of self-sustaining bureaucracy, but instead of being in government, because they couldn't hack it there, they want to be in power over entertainment. And it's like, we don't need bureaucracy between us and our entertainment, but that's what they want to be. And the thing with bureaucracy is once it takes root, its only interest is in justifying itself and growing its own power and reach, always. Like, power is always, its first and foremost mission is always to expand itself. So that's what they want. They want to be the bureaucracy of entertainment.
And what's even worse is that the people in that... Sorry.
No, you go first, man.
There's a bit of a lag between when people start talking, so sometimes you'll interrupt each other. It's okay.
Yeah. Me first or you first?
You go first, Nico. Me and Billy have been talking plenty.
Okay. No, but what's even more sinister, because I've been reading a lot about it, about moral panics and political religions and totalitarian regimes and shit.
Getting blackpilled over there.
But the worst part is the bureaucracy, the people in it, they don't do it for the bureaucracy's sake. They're all completely convinced by some moral principle or utopian agenda that they want to push.
Oh yeah, that's typical.
I think that they want you to think that, and I think that they think that in their head, but the core of this fucking shit is just that they want to have power over shit. They want to be in charge. They want to be Little Miss Sunday School teacher, and they want to burn shit down that they don't like. That's it.
Yep.
Yeah, the power is the means to the end.
It's a fundamental.
And I mean,
power is the means and the end.
I think the only reason they really buy into their moralizing bullshit is just so that they can feel like a good person by default. Because otherwise, like, if they acknowledged, oh, I'm a horrible, power-hungry, like, vindictive, harmful person, they wouldn't feel very good. So instead they're like, no, I'm a good person because it's the same way that the Inquisitors would feel like they were doing God's work as they tortured innocent people. It's like, you don't have to be a good person when all you have to do to be a good person is check the right box. So it's like, it's easy. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to sustain any kind of principles. You don't have to be consistent. You don't have to examine your actions. You especially don't have to examine your actions. You just like check the right box and you're like, nope, I'm good. Authority tells me so. And bada bing, bada boom. Then they can just put that shit on autopilot. They don't have to think about how their actions actually impact people. They don't have to look into anything. They can just indulge in their darkest desires and then pat themselves on the back real hard afterwards. And that's their day.
Yeah, I used to be like that.
I think everyone has been like that to a degree, like growing up or being young. Like, I remember when I was like a teenager, like 13, 14, I was like still super Christian. And I was like, you know what? Yeah. I could be the most zealous Christian ever.
Oh,
it's like, I could be so good at it. And it's like, but I guess I didn't have that thing where I really wanted to hurt people, or at least I had it sublimated into something that was a little more direct instead of being like, oh, pussyfooted and like two-faced. Like, I went into karate class and just beat people up, and that's how I kind of got that out of my system.
Well, very few people go, I'm going to go hurt someone someday, but they kind of sell it to themselves in their, whatever pathology they buy into.
See, that's the thing is, I set myself up where I was either going to go to the military and kill people for a living or go to art school. And luckily my parents let me go to art school. That was like, those were the two things I was going to do. I signed myself up for the military, and then they put a stop to that and let me go to art school. But, you know.
Why?
Well, you know. I could have been hanging out with Dan, you know.
I don't know. Maybe to some degree this pathology is like an arrested development, because I do think there's that adolescent aggression that like young guys especially will get when their hormones are raging, and like you're a young adolescent guy, you want to forge your place in the world. There's going to be some aggression, and I think a lot of especially in the furry community, there's a lot of people that seem like they're frozen or locked in a certain stage of emotional development, like a very like adolescent teenage sort of like mental mind frame that they just never escape from, like they're in high school forever. So maybe that's part of that frozen development, is being like kind of locked into that narcissistic good by default, because that's, you know, when you have a lot of issues with conformity is when adolescents are trying to forge an identity. They do so first and foremost by like joining something, and then after that they kind of grow through it.
Dave, remember that book about cults I mentioned, The Wrong Way Home?
Yes. I love cult books. I should read that.
No, it's about cults, and it's not a cult book. But anyway.
Well, that's what I like books about real life cults. Like, I like that stuff.
Yeah, he explores the mindset, but he actually explained that it's a kind of a combination between wanting to save the world and wanting to be cradled, protected at the same time.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense too.
That's the combination. He goes into much better detail than I could, but anyway, that's the combination that leads to the cultist mindset.
That and the lack of good parents.
Outside, of course, appearances and images are what matter the most to a lot of people these days. It's you have to appear good rather than be good, which is it's shallow, I guess. Well, I guess
definitely.
I mean, that's the It's pretty much the definition of shallow, you know.
Yeah. I guess because it's a tick.
Aw. Cute.
Yeah, I've got the ticks. Like one's rubbing my hands.
It's okay. It's okay. My husband has them as well.
Yeah, I mean, in many ways, it is marketing, as Spider puts it. He put it as that. It's, I don't know. It's like, it's who's that chap put it as like of course, like it's like court behavior, and you have to like constantly be up with it, to prove that you're in the in group.
It's more about like almost like you said, demonstrating that you're part of the socially ruling class. And it's not so much of like, oh, maintain this consistent set of principles. And it's more like, hey, every time we update these principles, if you're paying attention, you'll change correctly. And if you're not paying attention, then we know that you're not submitting to us enough. You're not giving us enough attention, and then you're in trouble. So it's really more about like,
submit to me.
Yeah, that's actually it.
Cyber told me that actually, that word, shibboleth.
Colin, I'll submit to you any day.
Yeah. It's a shibboleth is a good word because it's like
Colin puts up with so much for me.
Phrases, a lot of things. It's more like statements of affiliation. It's like
yes.
I get cyber. Yeah, he taught me the word shibboleth. I didn't know what it meant, but he sort of taught me that.
What word was it?
Shibboleth.
Shibboleth.
Shibboleth. I know Shub-Niggurath, but that's just a Lovecraft thing.
All right.
I was gonna say that sounds like our Lovecraft monster.
Shibboleth. That's it. It's something that determines in-group, out-group status.
Yeah, like a talisman, almost like a social talisman.
Okay. I'm glad there's a word for that. That's a good concept to have a word for. I didn't. A shibboleth. I'd love to.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat could write it out. That's an interesting one.
I did. All right.
I like to have. Me. I like my little terms because they're useful for communicating ideas quickly. I like my little phrases that disarm people.
I like Shibboleth as the name of a metal band too. Shibboleth is a pretty metal sounding name.
It is. Well, like I said, it sounds like Shub-Niggurath, which is a Lovecraft monster.
It's a noun, a custom, principle, or belief distinguishing a particular class or group of people, especially in a long-standing run, regarded as outmoded or no longer important. That's what the term is. It's Shibboleth.
Ooh, okay. Boy, that's a bit of a definition, but I'll try to remember that. I can only keep so many words in my head.
Basically, the short version is in-group, out-group distinction. Behaviors, signs, symbols that determine in-group, out-group status. That's the short version.
Okay, yeah, no, I get the base concept. It's a
Sai is a very smart fox. I'll tell you that.
He is. No, I love talking with him. I'm glad he's one of the editors on the Hampshire Guys book, because I know he's.
He's good with horror. Again, I'm still working on it. I should be working on it again soon, which I will. But
speaking of, we are at Vivid. We are indeed editing our manuscripts, so they are nice and polished and readable. And there's definitely some stuff in there that is sensitivity reading. It would not pass. It would not pass a sensitivity reader.
Well, hold on, but that gives me. Because I have an idea for a marketing thing we could do with sensitivity readers, where we take a particularly offensive Vivid title, maybe, or just any of them, Dreamkeepers, False Start, whatever, and we have we pay someone who is like a legit sensitivity reader to read it, and we get all their feedback, and then we're just like, all right, we're not going to change any of that, but we're using everything you said as marketing.
So basically, the Mothers Hate Dead Space thing.
What'd you say, Billy?
Do you remember the Mothers Hate Dead Space campaign that they did? Where they took a bunch of old suburban mothers and they showed them Dead Space.
No, I didn't know that happened. They did that?
It was called Your Mom Hates Dead Space 2.
That's awesome. See, we could do that. It'd be fun.
No, this is a seriously good idea. Let's not talk about it too much on screen. We'll catch wind of it. But yeah, Hazen, you're here. You heard that. That's a great idea.
I mean, like, can you imagine, You can imagine like a sensitivity reader reading like the Michael Bohr parts of Dreamkeepers or the Apartheid parts in False Start. Like they'd blow up their heads. I'd love to get that feedback and use it.
Can they even get past page 1 of Dreamkeepers where we skewer like a teenager?
Yeah, like they'd be like, "Wow, that's who knows." I don't even know what they'd say, but they'd find some reason to be upset.
Yeah, they wouldn't be upset at this panel because this is. Milestone announcement briefly. I just finished penciling the last panel of the last comic page of Volume 5.
Is that what's on screen right now? Is that what that is?
Yep.
Hell yeah, dude. That looks good.
I'm excited because I was supposed to have this done like a month and a half ago. Hit a little bump in the road, but we're back on track now. And milestones.
Looks like the beach in fucking Death Stranding.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a little more ominous than that when you understand the context, but yeah, I'm pretty pleased.
But I will say, I do understand why the previous editor might have took exception to some of the content of Mr. Hampshire's stories. I can see why.
Yeah, but they were like, I think they had good cause, and they were very reasonable, and like I totally respect their decision, frankly.
I can see why. Some might not like it, but. I think he has some solid ideas. I'm on his longest story. I'm about halfway through my second and final pass for now.
I mean, I'm looking forward to getting a draw for that guy. I've listened to that dude talk about himself and his projects. I think he's a really interesting dude. So I'm glad we get to work with him.
I have an idea for the cover, but that's
Please tell me. I have to do that cover. So give me ideas.
Yeah, no, because in a story. I don't know if I should say it. I don't know. Should I say because it includes some of the content of one of the stories?
As long as it doesn't totally spoil any plot stuff, you can. I think it's fine to talk about the basic gist of some stuff.
There's a vivid, there's a vivid, I don't know how to explain it without spoiling it because I could do it in private, but I can't do it here.
If you can't do it, that's okay.
Let's just say Backstoppers. Does Dave know that?
Backstop? I don't know. I haven't read any of this thing yet.
No, that's one of the story titles, but I'm blanking on exactly which story it was because I've got them all.
Basically, there's a mental image of a phenomenon in it, right?
Oh yeah. Backstoppers. That was a creepy, weird one.
Yeah, and I think something to do with that might do.
Okay.
I can't say it because if I say what it is, then it's part of the story.
Okay, we'll keep spoilers away, but
I don't want to break the non-existent NDA.
Well, thank you. Thank you for being so
appreciative. Speaking of cover art and authors and upcoming books, though, I am gonna try to sling you some homework in the next couple days, Bone. Where I'm gonna be like, hey, Bone, now that you're author relations, please get in touch with these authors and
sure.
so they know that that's you.
Oh yeah, that's fine. My big thing is me and AJ are working on how to script out the video for the Indiegogo page for False Start, where it's like, okay, you need to have a video at the top. You can do an image, but videos get 2,000% more engagement. And I was like, all right,
no video, no brains.
So I was like, my husband, he edits video for a living, and I was like, all right, how should I do this? And he's walking me through what would probably be best. So that's cool.
Do you know what you should do? Hey guys, I got my comic False Start. Just do the typical YouTube stuff, Leave a like and comment and subscribe, and
there is a part of me that wants to just do it like how I do my acetate videos, where I just kind of go in where I'm like, hey guys, it's me, Bonitis, talking about this weird thing I'm working, and just do it freehand, just completely off the cuff. I'm like, no, I need to do a script. We need to edit it. It needs to be nice. We do have the landing page though for people who do want to be on the newsletter for as that comes out. We're going to be launching that in March, so.
Yeah, hit that link into the chat if anyone has that Indiegogo link to the False Start.
I've got it.
Why not do it like a Raid Shadow Legends advert?
A what?
Raid Shadow Legends advert.
Raid Shadow Legends.
Oh yeah.
Raid Shadow Legends.
Hey guys, it's
just hide in another video.
And for anyone that is a misbehavigator and they have not yet read False Start, go to bonitiscomics.com. You can read it now.
We have a totally...
Yes, there is no other furry comic like False Start. I will declare that. There is no other like it.
I put a lot into it. It's been like a background... background makes it sound like it's a hobby or something, but it's something I've worked on in the background of my life for 10 years now, because comics don't make money, especially comics about weird shit. And this is a comic about weird shit. And now 178 pages of it are done, and we're making a book out of it. So hopefully you read it, and you'll probably like it. Or at least you'll be like, wow, I haven't read anything like that.
But you guys, I would like you to prove Bone very, very wrong about comics don't make money. It's like, he's been doing this for a decade. I would really like to make this a nice little milestone of no, this is worth your while. These books are going to be beautiful. They're going to be something that people remember forever, but to make it happen, we do need to start building up some readership. So check out that comic, sign up for the Indiegogo page, and start sharing it with not everybody, just cool people that you know.
Share with everybody.
There's a reason that the furries hate him and put him on a million blacklists.
This is the most blacklisted furry comic ever created. So I didn't set out with that goal in mind, but that's what happened. I think I'm going to include that in the video, just talk about what was happening in my life as this comic developed over the last decade, because I think that does add some interesting context where it's
it does.
You should do it like a fucking Howard Stack thing, like Unsolved Mysteries. Just fucking walk out in a big trench coat and be like, the most blacklisted furry comic ever made.
I'm more of a Jonathan Frakes guy. I could come out like that. I could do that.
Yeah. I'm voice than Jonathan Frakes, man.
Yeah. Well, we can although if you need a third party actor, like some goofball to do some bit role, you guys can call me up. I can come embarrass myself on camera for you.
Oh, we need to do a whole play with you and Chad and everybody.
Can I use my Dutch grunt voice?
Your Dutch grunt voice? Yeah, sure. I don't know who that would apply to, but yeah, we'll do it.
Dave knows what that is, and anyone who saw the stream.
Excuse me?
Say what?
Oh, sorry?
Dave and anyone who saw the stream knows what that is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, he's got a really good Dutch grunt. Maybe we should also have that be like Simon's voice. I feel like Grunt and Simon kind of sync up as characters.
Well, Grunt would have a much deeper voice than Simon, just based on appearance.
I thought Simon was going to be like the deepest of the baritones.
You think so? People have a bunch of different ideas about how he'd sound. I always give him the voice of the guy who did the English dub for Space Dandy in my head. So.
Oh.
Should I give a sample of Dutch grunt?
Please, let's hear it. Let's hear it right now. Do it.
Hang on, I have to find some text.
He has to get in the zone.
Yeah, but
I have to find the text.
If Grunt was Dutch, this is exactly what we would be hearing.
People in the chat are saying very nice things.
Ja, dan hoe lastig het is om te pissen als er iemand in de weg staat die bij mij heeft kwibbelen.
Yeah, that's it. I don't know Dutch, but yeah, that's a Grun voice.
To me, Grun was always he's like slightly deeper John DiMaggio to me.
That could work. I could hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, like John DiMaggio.
Yeah, because he's kind of fun and funny, but he's got a deeper voice. Sure, I could hear that.
And of course, Ravat to me is like a very deep, gravelly Australian accent. Like to me, Ravat has to be Australian.
Yeah,
I could hear Ravat being Australian. Yeah, like an evil, version of Steve Irwin.
That actually works really well, and for canonical reasons, is also that would actually work really well. But I can't if I actually explain why it's a spoiler at this point.
Because he's
I'm
from
British. I'm actually
Australia.
trained with criminals, you know. But
From
you know,
Dream World, Australia.
I always imagine Grun talking like sort of like Cockney. Like you know have you ever played Beautiful Joe? You know the shark boss?
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Just that, but deep.
Works from 40K.
That, but lower.
God, that's
how he's really stupid and shit. Just like Grun
like there's
is.
not
like,
not a whole lot of voice acting in that game because there's not much in terms of
about
cutscenes. But I remember that character and that voice, so I could hear it. Plus, Grun is a shark as well, so.
Just remember, we got to run all this by our sensitivity screeners.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we do. Is we do the regular Dreamkeepers or False Start, and then we also have the sensitivity reader version, and it's like 3 pages long.
Dreamkeepers and pals. Dreamkeeper babies.
Yeah, Dreamkeeper babies. There we go.
Yeah,
make your
like
dreams
Muppet
come
babies,
true.
dude. Yeah, they just have little fucking adventures at the fucking.
Wouldn't that be? We could find that on. I bet if we got onto Fiverr, we could find some sensitivity readers for $5 or something.
No,
like,
you're talking like this isn't a plan. You're talking like what if? It's like no, we're doing.
We
we're
could
doing
do
this.
we could totally hire like the worst sensitivity readers for $7 and be like, all right, what do you think? Oh, well, this is offensive to. All right, keep going. We'll listen to all of it. You've been paid. All right, never talk to us again.
Why don't we just go big on the name recognition or something? And get like some has-been wanker that kind of needs money, but also still has a name that is kind of recognizable.
Are there
like CNN?
Are there famous?
No, like.
Are there famous sensitivity readers?
Anita Sarkeesian.
Oh, dude, she's expensive though. She gets a lot of money. We can't afford her. We can't afford that.
Yeah, you have to realize by now.
She's still around.
She gets.
Dude, like
she doesn't get.
She goes to like Bungie and does presentations. Like she still carries water. Remember, my brother who works in the games industry, like Brianna Wu stops by his office regularly. Like these people, they don't go away.
Jesus fucking Christ.
That's real. He talks.
Why won't
He's
they
told
just
me.
go away.
He tells me
Because
he's
they got
just
a
like she
protection
shows up.
racket that works. It's a lucrative protection racket. That's it.
You see, the grifting industry is one of the greatest American industries that ever existed, and we need to support them during these difficult times.
Griftopia, baby.
We need some state stimulus for grifters, because some grifters are being left out to dry right now.
They can't do anything during COVID.
Those poor souls.
You guys keep it up.
The
I gotta
great
take a
American
peek.
grifting industry. And Ian Miles Chong, because he's not American.
It reminds me of the pencils down when Marvel and DC and all these comic studios were like, "Oh, COVID's happening, pencils down. We're not going to pay anyone to do anything." And I was like, "Are you kidding? This is like all the time at home we need to do all the more comic work." Okay.
Yeah, how hard is it to mail a page?
I don't know.
Apparently, too hard for Marvel and DC authors.
Because then the postman would be paid, and we can't have the working class being paid, because then they wouldn't be revolting when they get paid.
Speaking of which, are we getting that $2,000 anytime soon? Because I thought Joe promised us that he'd shell out some cash if he got in office, and I ain't seen no check.
He said he was going to stop COVID too. Guess what? Everything in Michigan's supposed to be opening up in February again. It's magic, right? You elect the guy the establishment wants, and suddenly there's no more plague, no more pandemic.
Yeah, I was when I saw that the army roll into Michigan, I was kind of worried about you and Bone, Dave and Bone, to be honest.
Actually, you should have been worried about the army. We could take him.
You should see the other guy.
Politicians lie more than you know.
This fucking flu that went around that has a 99% fucking survival rate that we had to shut everything in the fucking planet down for. It didn't magically. Biden is elected. It's no longer a problem. Just everybody's gonna wear masks for a little bit longer. Restaurants can open back up. It's fine. Don't worry about it. That is really the real reality we're living in.
Yeah, and the amazing thing is, it's like the people that are glued to the news and like social media and stuff. Half of them can't even tell that it's baloney. Half of them can't even tell that this stuff is like clearly being orchestrated. At least in the presentation of the information, they just like look at the announcements from the establishment. They're like, oh, okay, like, and that's their whole life is just saying that over and over again every time they get a new announcement.
Read Hating by Matt Taibbi.
I gotta get a sheep bleat sound effect for my board. Somebody remind me to do that.
How about this?
There we go. Perfect.
Good. Yeah. Bingo. And I mean, I'm not even one of the people that's running around being like, oh, the whole pandemic is fake. There's no virus. It's like, no, there is. It's probably more dangerous than the flu, especially because it's so new. We don't know anything about the long-term shit. But like the way it is being leveraged to consolidate control over the economy is just like, yeah, that's a different thing that they're doing. They're just using this pandemic as an excuse. It doesn't really do a lot to help anyone, and it seems obvious.
I was like all for this lockdown shit when the first month that it happened, because it was like, here's a virus that's supposedly come out of some lab in China, which I think all viruses come from fucking labs, because what is a virus? It's a little nanomachine. That doesn't occur in nature. Anyway, it comes out of a lab in China somewhere. China has hated us for fucking 4 years. And guess what? One of the first places it makes it stop, America. It's spreading everywhere, and people are like throwing their guts up on the subway in China and shit. Yeah, that sounds scary. We don't know what this thing is or what it might do. So yeah, everybody put masks on when you go out. Only go out if you absolutely got to. Maybe shut restaurants down for like 2-3 weeks, a month, maybe tops. But like 3 months into this, when like no one's dying and they come out and admit like, oh, actually, all these things that were COVID deaths are mostly just COVID related. It's like a 800-year-old woman on a fucking hospice bed somewhere is about to die, and at the last second, somebody touches her with a booger on their fingers that has COVID. You got COVID.
I got a COVID booger.
Like during her dying breath, and they count that as a COVID. Oh, COVID killed her, dude. That she had COVID and she died. That's a COVID thing. Like, things have been so fucked with to make this thing seem much scarier. And now, I don't know if you guys saw this today, the World Health Organization is now determining, it's either that or the CDC, somebody's determining now that you do not test positive anymore for COVID, basically, unless you have the virus twice. Now, that's the only way. So what's that going to do? It's going to cut down the numbers by like 10% because not many people get it twice. So they're already preparing and shepherding everybody over towards, okay, guys, good job. You elected Biden. It's now you can go play again. Like, that's what's fucking happening. It's like
it really does feel like that. It's like, oh, you elected Biden. All right, COVID's gone. It's a little weird.
Kindergarten teachers fucking running our fucking country, thinking that they fucking run everything. And now he's shut down the fucking Keystone Pipeline, one of the biggest fucking like oil like logistics projects that we fucking have had in America ever, and he shuts that down.
Don't worry about it, because you have to realize most of the people that this affects that are like unhappy about this, a lot of them are just going to commit suicide, so what they care won't matter after that.
It'll be just like China. Speaking of which, they are now allowed to buy into our fucking energy infrastructure companies now.
Oh yeah, he just signed an executive order where it's like, for some reason now China's going to be our infrastructure development lead or some shit.
No one gets off the ride. Good idea to let a foreign country control your energy infrastructure when you have a working energy infrastructure.
I mean, do you really want those photos of Hunter to come out? Like, just do it, China.
They're out. They're out. Everybody's seen them in the world.
Well, apparently those aren't the bad ones, because they're still those strings are
I've
still
heard about the
working.
bad ones. Nobody will let you, like, no, people when they talk about it, it's like, if you have those, don't post them, because they're like legit CP. Like, don't fucking post that shit. So I've never seen them. Thank fucking God. I don't want to fucking see them.
Same here.
Yeah. But it's that's. Although I think that at this point, again, it's amazing to me that a lot of people just this stuff is right out there. It's not like it's hidden. It's not like, oh, it's a conspiracy. It's like, no, just read things that have happened, and there's videotapes and photographs and witnesses and affidavits everywhere. It's like, but the people that
theory.
The people that don't want to see that, they're just not going to see it. And so for me, I'm just kind of like, okay, the idea that we got to like shift the course of our government and you can vote and determine a little bit between option A and B in your country. It's like, no, not really. I think maybe it's naive to think that we ever could have any influence on, the most powerful infrastructure in the history of human civilization. It's like, were they really going to let the peasants run the show? Probably not ever. So
in a democracy, voting only exists to make you feel like you have some measure of control. You don't. Guess what? Like, Trump lost the fucking popular vote when he got elected. It was the Electoral College that they're the only ones that have any bearing on the voting system at all. So it made no sense to me why they needed to, forge and fucking deliver 100,000 votes for Biden at fucking 3 a.m. or whatever the fuck, because none of that fucking matters anyway. People are still going to be pissed that he's fucking getting elected.
Yeah, and I mean, that's been something I've been... I have a lot of conservative / right wing friends. I'm very in the middle. Me, awful bisexual.
I am too.
Man. But I'll tell them, I'll be like, well, conservatives lost because they're pathetic, and they're like, what are you talking about? It's like, well, you guys, all you do is whine in chat rooms about shit. Like, you lost to the 2 + 2 = 5 people. Like, you guys suck. You don't do anything. Yeah. All you do is complain. You don't put your money where your mouth is. You don't act. You don't do shit. Like, of course you're gonna lose. Like, complaining doesn't do much.
They all fucking want to tell you like that. Oh, there's people doing stuff like this QAnon shit. It's the fucking first time I ever saw that, I was like, that is something that is designed to make you feel like there are these elite hacksaws out there, like, taking down the government. So you don't have to do anything, man. Just trust the plan and cheer these people on.
Trust the plan.
Yeah. And nothing. Like, I was like, this is nothing. Nobody's doing any of this shit. You're stupid.
I think like a short thing where Q came from, right? Because literally, legit, like...
You know a lot. Billy knows a lot about Q, because I don't understand it. It's, like, beyond me.
Have you heard that it's an AI recovered from alien technology?
There was a journalist series by someone called Jake Hanrahan. He does a podcast like called Popular Front, right? Okay. And this is like I'm just going to give you the short version. Basically, the Q hashtag was likely, not hashtag, but the Q thing, was likely either hijacked, started, no one's really sure, by someone called Paul Ferber. Paul Ferber, he's contributed to InfoWars before, but he's your white right-wing conspiracy nut, right? Mm-hmm. Now, Q eventually got kicked off of 4chan. It was a moderator decision. Hiroyuki-san said, no more Q, and actually kicked him off. So they went 8chan when 8chan was still around, right? And at some point, the Watkins family, who runs 8chan, basically stole the Q trip code from Paul Ferber, because Paul Ferber has since tried something similar for something called Big Dick Anon, who claims he's also a government insider who has information that the Clintons will all go down, the Q stuff, right?
Yeah.
So ever since the Watkins family, who owns 8chan and now 8kun, because of course 8chan got stomped into the dirt.
Did that happen? Did 8chan finally get taken out?
8chan got taken out.
It's hard to keep track. Yeah. Like Dave, you can agree with me on this. Is that it's hard to keep track of which websites are up and which ones are down and why. Like, it used to be like if you had a website, you had it up. As long as it wasn't child pornography or snuff films, you were good. Now it's like, I don't know. Like,
it's technically still up. Because,
okay.
It's called 8kun now.
8kun. Right? Okay, 8kun.
Yeah. But basically, it's basically almost certain that the Watkins family, who owns 8chan, you might have heard of them, the Watkins family.
I know the Watson family, Paul Joseph Watson's family, of course, but I don't know the Watkins.
Jim Watkins, he's an old internet guy, I guess you could say.
Imagine my cock.
But
I will.
Imagine my shock.
Basically, at some point they stole the Q hashtag and they basically just posted as Q ever since. Because 8kun's hosts also other Q sites and shit. So basically, it's likely just run by the people who run 8chan at this point because they stole the tag. It's it's interesting shit.
I cannot follow the Q shit. I just ask Billy. I'm like, what is the Q stuff? And he's like, okay, and he gives me like bullet points of info. I'm like, all right, it's still retarded. Got it.
Yeah. It was a lie from day one, but it was the sort of lie that makes you feel like there's there's a big grand plan. It's like as I said, it's like people think like the West Wing as well. They think everyone's attractive and competent and they can do all these,
politics is not an Aaron.
plans.
Politics is not an Aaron Sorkin film, as much as you want it to be.
Yeah, Q is college, but I will say, and I'll agree, the core of it that there are pedophiles and high levels of power is obviously true. We had Jimmy Savile, and Jimmy Savile was legit protecting shit, but it uses a core of truth to establish a pack of lies, basically.
Yeah, I mean that's the way the propaganda works. Is you got to mix in some grains of truth so that people will swallow it, and then they do. And
worst propaganda is that Kim Jong Un can hit like 10 holes in one in a row, because that's obviously false. But the best propaganda has the core of truth that you can then bend and distort. So people think, if that's true, the other stuff must be true. That's.
Wait, are you telling me you can't do that?
Shut up, Colin.
But only if he's.
My whole life has been a lie.
He can only do that if he's not golfing with Joe Biden.
The worst propaganda are outright lies. The best ones have a core of truth which you can then bend and distort to your favor.
Yeah, no, that's not wrong. I've made that's been like my background hobby since college, is studying propaganda. So I get it. I have a weird fascination with it. We had a whole episode of SWC where I reviewed propaganda comics.
I've actually been listening to that one.
That was a fun one.
You reviewed Clinton Cash.
Oh,
that was a
Clinton Cash. Yeah, Clinton Cash. That was the worst type of propaganda, where it's like, oh, this is for like retards. God, it was so
interesting.
It could have been interesting because political foundations are basically ways to launder money and basically legally bribe politicians.
And I was fascinated by that subject, and that book totally disappointed. So that's.
Yep, I honestly think it sounds like they should have done like a Menu Sarah Goats approach, where they adapt it as a story.
No,
rather than just preaching at you.
Oh, the whole thing. Yeah, the whole thing is it's a lecture. It's like a long form lecture comic. Actually, God, that would have been a good line for that review. Oh well, I already tore it up and threw it in Chad's litter box.
Nah, I will say here's one.
I will get you another copy someday.
Oh,
sorry,
Dave. Let's let Dave talk.
I don't have a whole lot of thoughts on Q because I don't follow it because
it's too hard to follow. It's impossible.
Well, yeah, I don't have infinity time, but just post-mortem interesting thoughts. It seems like there is some question as to whether the growth of Q and the promotion of Q was organic, or whether there was some entity out there that wanted to make sure that it took took root. Like whether that was like a foreign power or maybe our own intelligence agencies. But there's some question as to whether it was organic or whether someone saw that and they're like, hey, let me pick this up and use it for a purpose. Now, one thing it did.
My personal view is that, of course, the man himself, Donald J. Trump. He did encourage it because, of course, his line of thinking is, if people think that I'm literally saving America by voting for me,
that's good. Yeah,
why not?
That's a win for him, sure.
Yeah, I honestly think that. I don't know if a foreign power, it's the favorite thing to say. It's the Russians, or
I was gonna say, was it the Russians the whole time?
Yeah.
Well, at this point, there's intelligence agency practices that are explicitly to leave fingerprints so that it does look like the Russians. So it's like, no, they're everyone's favorite scapegoat. It's like, oh, look, I'm sure they're developing tech right now so they can point the finger at China when they do shit to us.
It's just, there's a Latin quote for it, but basically, I could find it, but basically, I think that the biggest culprit is Donald Trump himself, basically trying to lean into it. Just he's basically telling disaffected people believing in a pack of lies. Yeah, I really am fighting the satanic pedophiles, and
Well, that was dumb because the effect it had was it sort of activated the bystander effect and caused everyone who believed in that garbage to be totally passive and accepting and not do anything at all to like
because they thought someone else was
infrastructure that
handling
might let them affect change.
They're like, well, I just have
Right
to,
up
I'm
until-
believing in it, so I'll be right, but someone else is going to
There's
handle the
people
hard
who
part.
still, yeah, there's still people who still believe right now that you cannot convince them this shit is bullshit. Like
Sure.
they're saying now, like, oh man, something's cooking, and Trump is actually president, and Biden is not. Like it's just some kind of thing because they don't want the masses to go crazy. And then there's other people who think that fucking like this, they're actually going to overturn the election now, and in March or something like Trump is going to come back.
Yeah, there's a cute theory that Biden is Trump under a mask or something, and a voice changer.
Yeah, the
I've seen that.
face-off
I thought
theory. That was a
joke.
good
I thought
one.
that was just like a face-off joke.
That's what it sounds like. It's a joke.
Oh, it's beyond schizophrenic at this point. Like it was schizophrenic at first, but it's beyond schizophrenic at this point. It's like losing. It's the ultimate cope, as they say these days. That's how you win these days in an argument. You just say cope. It was in the old days. It was you mad. It was you mad.
The
What came up,
copium hits.
But
Yeah.
Q is it's a schizophrenic. It's a good way to call it. A good way to describe it is it's a conspiracy movement. But of course, I actually like the term. I like the term conspiracy movement because it really is. It's like a lot of conspiracies under one roof, and I think that's why it had such wide appeal.
Yeah, and I don't think we've ever seen anything quite like it in the nation's history, where it's been so widely followed, accepted, and acted upon.
Yeah.
So it is
Yeah, because I think-
it is interesting. It's just very, very strange.
I think we studied because it's, as I said, it's like a lot of conspiracies under one roof. You of course had JFK, you had 9/11. Those were some of the big ones, right? But Q has like a whole bunch of like it has the Seth Rich murder. It has
It's all
the
there. It's all there.
yeah. Gotta
All
connect the
your
dots.
favorites, all the hits. It's a best of.
Yeah.
I bet it ropes in the Epstein
The
suicide.
stars are all here.
That's the
All your
troubling thing
favorites.
is because there's some dirty things that went down, like the Seth Rich stuff, the Epstein stuff, like the leaks, the hacks. Like there's some dirty stuff that happened, but it's like wherever the fire actually is, people are just like throwing fog machines all over the landscape. So it's like, okay, well, we know some of the smoke is real, but you guys have obscured it with so much bullshit that now essentially anything can slip under the radar in this massive cloud of disinformation.
I remember when I was told that Epstein was dead, and I was like, my brother told me, I was like, nah, they wouldn't do that. But,
They would.
I remember my parents were like, he committed suicide. And I was like, no, he didn't. They're like, what? I love talking about I love my parents. I love talking to them. But, man, they are dialed into the 24-hour mainstream media news cycle. They believe
Boomer legacy, man.
it's
boomers.
it's like a
Boomers and
nightmare.
their TVs.
I love my
I
parents.
can't believe.
I talked to Dave
The
about it,
boomers-
I think, where they were talking about the Capitol thing, and they were like, well, those were insurrectionists. 5 people died. And I'm like, Mom, no, don't do this to me. Like, no, I love you so much. Like,
I have similar problems with my parents, but they don't quite believe the news cycle, but they're more like, yeah, what are we going to do about it?
and I get that,
I can
because
relate-
what are you
Yeah,
going
I
to do
can
about
relate
it?
to that.
You're just a guy. Like, you're just one guy.
Like, what are you gonna do about it? Vote?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I love listening to conspiracies, but I know the idea is you should keep it at arm's length. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you'll become a Q person saying that everything is an orchestrated ruse by a guy who couldn't even like fucking organize a decent campaign against a guy who's like half senile.
Yeah. So it's like I think it's probably healthy to keep a lot of possibilities in mind, and obviously not just like swallow whatever the establishment corporate spin tells you to swallow. But it's like you never want to just be like, well, I think that makes sense, so therefore I believe it. It's like no, don't believe stuff unless. Plus, at this point, there's like deep fake video shit. Even if you see something on video and in photos,
It gets so
there's
weird.
no way you can. It's like you can't really tell if that's real anymore. The technology to fake stuff is really good, and if you think that everything you see from conspiracy theorists, if you think that they're all like just trying to get the truth out to you. And if you think the corporate media is like, oh, they're just trying to get the truth out, it's like, no, almost nobody is trying to tell you the truth. Almost everyone is just looking for clicks or attention or money or a way to consolidate their power and use you as a stepping stool in that process. So just have a healthy skepticism, and it's not paranoid to think that people are trying to lie to you all the time, because almost all these, I mean, I'm still old enough to remember when the CDC was telling you not to wear masks. I'm still old enough to remember when the World Health Organization said, this thing in China is not a pandemic, you people are crazy. It's like these were our big establishment trusted institutions just flat out telling us a lie, and then, 2 months later they turn around and
hug a Chinese person day or whatever.
Oh yeah, in Italy, yeah.
Now Italy has one of the worst fucking cases of the shit.
Yes, it's like just when people are pushing a narrative, like no matter if it's coming from like, oh, it's Q based in red pilled, or if it's like coming from the establishment media, it's like they're probably lying to you. Just assume they're probably trying to like dupe you until you have some tangible evidence to say otherwise.
I guess the best hold on. The best question to ask when consuming any sort of mainstream media or profitable news source, and profitably in the keyword there, as I'm going to lead into, but it's to ask, all right, this story, if this story is true, who profits from it? All right, so, and then once you answer that question in your head, then proceed. It's like, okay, it may not necessarily be that they're profiting from it, but if they did, there you go. It's worth thinking about.
Another thing that is actually helpful to think of is always when you're looking at a news story that's being pushed especially hard, kind of stop, take a step back, and think, what is the dog that is not barking?
Yeah, one of my piece of advice is really, you ain't gonna get the full story immediately. Don't read it immediately. The temptation's there. You want to be informed and shit, but you will not get the full story immediately.
Yeah.
It's like with the Capitol riot. It was like they found the zip tie guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He took him off a cop or something. Apparently.
Yeah, I've heard I've heard that, oh, he was there to like zip tie children to the guillotine. And then I heard, no, they were police zip ties, and he just grabbed them off a bench so the police couldn't use them on the other protesters. It's like, okay, how do I know which one of those is true? Nope.
Both.
Well, and that was
they could both be true.
That was something my parents said to me. They were like, well, that guy came in with all those zip ties. And I was like, yeah, they're zip ties. Like, one person among a crowd of hundreds of thousands, I don't know what that guy wants or is going to do. Maybe he is crazy, but he doesn't represent every other person in that crowd. It's, how do you discern information? It's a nightmare.
It's ignotus, which means like explaining the unknown by the more unknown. It's like you can't really know how things fucking you don't know who's lying to you.
You can only know so much. Like, we all have a Dunbar's number. I bring that up all the time. It freaks people out, but it's there.
What's a Dunbar's number?
Oh, Dunbar's number is based. I'll do the scientific term and then I'll talk about the easier version. But it's basically it is the amount of quote unquote true relationships you can form in your brain based on the size and composition of your prefrontal cortex. Basically, it's how many people can you think of at one time as quote unquote real people, and the number.
0.
Well, then. All right, bad answer.
Don't count. Solipsis don't count.
Yeah, solipsism, then you don't have any. But the basic answer for most people is between 150 and 250, and everybody kind of has that limitation. And once you start thinking of things with that filter, you start to realize how weird a lot of stuff is. Where it's like we can kind of only think of so many people as people, and I guess overcoming that is the next big evolutionary step. That'd be nice to be able to think of like, oh, I think of more nice people as nice people. Great. But it's called Dunbar's number because the guy who created the term. It's an interesting concept. It's a scary concept. It's part of what I call horror math. where you start to look at, where it's okay, numbers applied to scary things about the human psyche, but it's worth knowing about.
That's interesting. I would add one more thing to the whole like media, everyone's lying to you thing too. Dunbar's number, I'd never heard of that, so that's interesting to me. But one parting note is, with all of the disinformation swirling from every source, one warning flag that you should always pay attention to know if you're probably being manipulated is if you have a surge of emotion. If you see something or hear something that makes you mad or scared or any strong emotion, because especially the negative emotions are the easiest ones to tweak, probably someone is deliberately packaging the information in such a way as to activate you emotionally, get you to stop thinking, and get you to go into one of a few predetermined buckets. Like, so if you see some headline or something makes you angry or scared or whatever, as soon as you feel a surge of emotion, stop and realize that someone is probably deliberately causing you to have that emotion, and you should really think about whether you want to trust that information.
Yeah, if
I
someone
will say again, read Hate Inc. by Matt Taibbi. That's a good book on media.
It's so good.
What
Hate Incorporated by Matt. It's Hate Inc. Like why the media divides people or whatever. That's the subtitle. But it's Hate Inc. by Matt Taibbi. It's very good. Me, AJ, and Billy have read it. It made AJ very upset to listen to. It's an upsetting book, but it's about media manipulation, and it's kind of like an extension of Noam Chomsky's Manufacturing Consent from the 1980s. But
he even listed it as an inspiration, yeah.
Yeah, and he even interviews Mr. Chomsky at the end. And the book came out in 2019, and it's almost and like a lot of those like kind of pop political culture books, like you read them a year later, you're like, oh, this is irrelevant now. I don't care. This one, I only just listened to it last month, I finished it this month, and I was like, oh, this is still fucked up. Like this is all very, very relevant information. It's also it's creepy. If you want a comfy read, that's not it. But if you want an informed read about like, hey, here's why all this stuff doesn't make sense and everybody's angry. Oh, that's the answer. Got it.
And I think it's very authoritative, given it's written by a long-time journalist. Mr. Taibbi works for.
He's a
Rolling
good guy.
Stone.
He does a good. He even addresses his bias. He's like, yeah, I work for Rolling Stone. They're a very left-wing publication. Here's all the stuff left-wing publications do wrong. It's like, oh, all right.
And
he gets
he himself actually is like in the role. Hunter S. Thompson. He actually is in his job. He does his job, like the job he had at Rolling Stone.
No, he's a John Ronson, Hunter S. Thompson type of journalist. Like he's a real journalist. Like it's like, oh, this is the closest we have to like a Spider Jerusalem type character is this guy.
It's so weird that when we talk about journalists now, you have to be like, no, this one is actually like the word journalist. I think has been destroyed by most of the people in that profession. It's kind of sad.
They chose it.
In the book, I think, is actually where he just tears into like the whole Steele dossier thing, and of course the Iraq War. He said it's the exact same sort of thing where journalists are so very close to intelligence sources that they'll just take it at their word, when of course they could be lying to them and shit.
And almost always they'd be lying to them. Otherwise, why would they even be talking to them?
One of his biggest warnings is if something comes from unnamed sources, don't trust it.
Bill, you have a rhyme for it. Can you do your little rhyme?
Oh, yeah. If it's from unnamed sources, hold your horses.
There you go. See?
Hey, that's good. No,
keep it.
It sounds silly, but rhyming stuff like that actually matters. It makes it stick in your head better. Otherwise, it just evaporates.
It's like alliteration, rhymes. It really sticks with you. It's like Shakespeare. That's why he rhymed and alliterated all the time, because people remember it.
Yeah.
Billy just low-key compared himself to Shakespeare, just getting that in there.
No, I don't want that.
Hold your horses. Now we need a synthwave version of that.
Even before Shakespeare.
Hate Inc. is a very good book. I would add it. I think it's a companion piece to Trust Me I'm Lying, which is also another very good.
It's like the update to that, because Trust Me I'm Lying was 2014-15. This is the 2019 update to that. I would put it up. Actually, I have this book right here with Drew Curtis's FARC. Here it is. It'll be on camera. It's not news. It's FARC. How Mass Media Tries to Pass Off Crap as News by Drew Curtis, founder of FARC.com.
Of course, Trust Me, I'm Lying, of course, is focused on the business model of the news, and of course, it's done from the perspective of a marketer. Whereas Hate Inc. is of course done from the perspective of a journalist who's been doing the job for a long time. I would call them companion pieces. Hate Inc. is more about how it works as a business, like it's how it works too. Because he emphasizes, right, that the news is a consumer product. And it's not the truth product.
Yeah, because
and it's true for the different silos that are out there.
It's basically. Why it's the mainstream news, but why are all the commercials for pharmaceuticals, and how come none of the news articles ever on the news ever hit upon things these pharmaceutical companies do wrong? Oh, okay.
Oh man, the more I'm learning about like this health stuff and nutrition, and the more I'm being denied the one medication my neurologist has prescribed, the more I'm coming to really appreciate the whole pharmaceutical, insurance, medical conglomerate industry. It is quite something.
Dave's going through all the stuff I went through back in 2013 through 15, where I was like, oh, none of this works right.
Yeah.
Do you remember the part of the book where he lists like the Times news channels went after bigger players and they just got sued, so they stopped doing it?
What?
Remember that part?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's just it's a mess. Like, it's an absolute mess. It's a great book, though. Everybody should read it. I think I'm gonna buy it for my mom for her birthday, because hopefully she'll start to understand the weird shit I talk about.
You told me that you felt as though you couldn't talk to anyone about news who hasn't read it.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, this is something. Yeah, which made me glad that AJ listened to it with me, because it's like, we're on the same page. Okay, cool. Thank God.
Well, I don't even think it's fair to call it like the news industry anymore. Like, literally, I think that word is conceding too much. I don't think there is news anywhere. I think it is just corporate spin. It's corporate narrative. That's it.
A good bit at the end was when he interviewed Chomsky, right? And one of the interesting things that Chomsky says is that everyone misunderstands manufacturing consent. He says people think of it as like you should never trust the media. He says that the idea is the news is full of facts, right? But of course, a lot of the propaganda, all that is distortion or omission or whatever, right? He says it's not don't read or watch news. It's read and watch it with your eyes open, aware of these things. You know, it's a very good part of it.
I like that message, but I kind of feel like the sad truth is most people are not capable of doing that.
Yeah, that's why it works.
Yes.
You could show them that book and they still wouldn't be able to do it. They don't have the neurology just isn't there. And some people, that's sad to say. That sounds horrible, but that's fucking what's going on. That's why that shit fucking works. That's how these culture wars are fucking won.
And I don't even know if it's necessarily the neurology. I would say it might even just be a lack of courage, because a lot of times people don't want to think something that makes them uncomfortable. It's not like they lack the hardware. It's like they just.
Well, I think it's both, really, because I mean, I don't think the average person is smart enough to like really think original thoughts. I mean, I don't know how else to put it.
No, I mean, yeah, it's like how else do you put it? Yeah, no, you're fine. I get it. Imagine being a veteran of the culture war. Someone from the culture war. Like culture war might be my least two favorite words like put together in the entire English language. Like people who are into it, are signed into it, are all about it. They're like the worst people. But we're all surrounded by it and all trapped by it. The culture war is the fucking worst.
The devil. It's like you might not believe in it, but it believes in you. It's like we're all getting flack. We're all getting flack from it, whether or not we want to participate. That's why we have to be building all these alternatives and shit.
Like nobody wants that to be the climate. Nobody wants to have to fucking talk about that shit or acknowledge it. And a lot of people just don't. Like it is like Colin was saying. It's a combination of just inability or cognitive dissonance, whatever the fuck you want to call it, and it's a combination of that and just fucking like the absolute terror of like waking up and realizing what you're actually surrounded by every day. It's kind of like, you know, sometimes when you drive a car and then just randomly you will have this fucking like epiphany. You'll be like, holy shit, I'm driving a fucking 2-ton chunk of metal.
I've had that feeling where it's like,
an hour.
I could kill everybody with this.
Feeling. It's like that, except it is everything around you, your planet, your country, your neighbors, your family, everything. And you can never, ever escape it. And once you fucking actually wake up and realize that, unlike the car, you can't go back to sleep and just go, oh, no, it's fine. I know how to drive. Like, you don't, that doesn't work. Like, it is everywhere. And people cannot fucking deal with that. And as soon as they see that horizon for their life, they're like, no, actually, none of this shit's real. The news says it's fine. Like, that's how this stuff is fought, because that's like 99% of people. They can't deal with that shit. And so they're just easily drawn in by this stuff. And there's just no opposition that's taking advantage of the same thing. So that's like how this stuff is growing so slowly. And it's just like not really winning currently.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no counterforce. And I think there's like a psychological truth too, that most people, I was telling you this, Bone, when we were having our wilderness like retreat the other day, just to restore our freaking sanity. Yeah. But I think I told you, like, most people will put themselves through absolute hell if it just means avoiding a little tiny bit of temporary discomfort.
Yeah,
they'll do whatever's the easiest right in the moment.
I'm not immune to that. I've done it. I probably am doing it right now with any number of issues where I'm avoiding things that I could easily solve. But it's crazy to think about.
Yeah. But that's So now that we've effectively black-pilled everyone on the media, that's why we're sort of doing our own thing and building our own spaces. And
I was gonna say one thing that I like to do in order to try to get more accurate information about things is to just read stuff kind of like from the horse's mouth, so to speak. Or I'll just get books from people that are like the heads of like organizations and stuff, and it would be like, this is what what we believe in, or like what I believe in, like what I'm trying to implement into the world and stuff like that. Like, I've mentioned, like, I think to you and Kip before, like, people like Carol Quigley, who was, like, the head of, like, the CFR here, like, the Anglo-American Establishment. Hero, Tragedy, and Hope, which are both great books.
CFR,
or, like,
the Anglo-American Establishment? What is any of this? Hold on.
The CFR is the Council of Foreign Relations.
Okay.
And he wasn't the head of it, but he was the secretary for it. And he was also Bill Clinton's mentor.
That's one of the big ones. One of the huge organizations that own a lot of the shit that owns a lot of the shit.
No, but yeah, I was telling you how, like, in
I read
Tragedy
Clinton
and Hope,
Cash. That wasn't in there. All right, so that book's
but I was telling you guys how, like, in Tragedy and Hope, like, he says that, like, yeah, like, the whole boom and bust cycle is, like, controlled, and then every time there's, like, this, like, recession or depression or whatever in America, it's literally just to make the rich people richer and stuff like that.
That would be the effect that we see every time.
And just to add to that, during this COVID thing that has been going on for almost a year now, we're coming up on it, we have added 56 new billionaires to the number of billionaires to the planet. None went away, but there's 56 new ones, and a billionaire, that's a lot more money than a millionaire. And then to add to that, $1.8 trillion has been added to the amount of money owned by the top earners in the world. So the quote-unquote 1% has definitely profited from what is going on that is negatively affecting everybody else. These are real stats. I didn't make this up. It's horrifying. It's horrible to read about.
If you look at the amount of deaths from people, like the amount of deaths that occurred in the home for people between the ages of 20 and 50, let's just say there's more risks to the lockdowns than just whether or not you get the virus. Because a lot
suicides,
of people, massive amounts of suicides from the lockdowns and the economic devastation.
Now, actually, I'd like to run this question by everybody who's on the voice chat right now, because I try to keep it real, keep it 100. But I don't know anybody who's died from COVID. Personally, I personally had it, which, whatever. But didn't die. I'm here talking to you now. I don't know anybody who's died from COVID. I also don't know anybody who's committed suicide because of the lockdown. Now,
I do.
Okay,
I do too.
Let's hear it. I want to hear stories. I want to know.
No. A friend of a friend, I vaguely knew him. He recently committed suicide, and because of all the lockdowns and shit.
Really? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I saw his last tweets, and it was like, you could tell this guy was like sort of like negotiating with existence, like, you know what I mean, right? Like,
yeah.
It's like, is there a consciousness after death? That sort of thing.
Hell yeah.
It's like sort of like the existence shit. Yeah. So
to be or not to be.
I know one. That's it.
Okay,
would say I
so
do
you know what?
know
See, I don't know
one
anybody.
person-
That's a lot more than me. You already know one. Okay, Dave, what do you got?
One person I do know that unfortunately died of COVID, and it was a grandparent that was almost 90.
Okay, they don't count. Too old. Who cares? All my grandparents are dead, so I. Sorry, that's mean.
No, I was gonna say I didn't know this person personally, but it was a friend of a relative, and they committed suicide back in like March or April, but then their death got written off as COVID.
So they wait. They suicide.
the fuck?
Hold on. They suicided
not
themselves with COVID. Like, did they? Did
No,
they make?
they suicided themselves, and they wrote off the cause of death as COVID.
Well, how did they suicide? Like, did they make a rope out of COVID? Like, what did they do?
I don't know. That's a
Oh,
good
wait,
question.
sorry. That's too grim. That's too grim. I shouldn't.
It's dark stuff. We gotta have joke about it, otherwise we get sucked into the darkness a little too
No,
hard.
we're not even joking. We're getting to the bottom of shit.
What if the bottom of shit is a joke?
Oh my. Well, then I'm set. Then I'm good. No, I don't know anybody personally who's died, but my oft-cited Brazilian ex, she's had 6 family members die of COVID. So I don't know. It's like I don't know anybody who has, but she's had 6 people die. So I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Because I'm a numbers guy, and I'm like, none of these numbers add up to my weird autistic brain. Like. I'm a numbers guy. I'm big into math and stats and making things just line up. I like a through line to line. You know, that's how I am.
Well, there could be an explanation. For example, she's from Brazil, and Brazil is
apparently, but like they haven't had as many deaths as us, but they don't have as high a population. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on, but I was like, oh my god, Julie's had 6 family members die. Like, what the fuck? I haven't had any family members die. Like, huh?
And Coyote, he's had 2 elderly relatives, die, and two of his college friends committed suicide. So yeah.
Chat is asking if my Brazilian ex has TF'd yet. No, she is not. Although I have drawn art of her as a furry, so it's there. It's a possibility.
TF? What is that?
Transformation.
Turn furry?
Turn furry.
He's a turf.
Yeah,
she's turned into a turf.
She is certainly not a turf.
Like like Animorphs because of the memes, but
she was she was a very nice lady who in college would let me. I couldn't draw her naked, but I could draw her naked as a furry character. So that art is in my gallery. Go find it if you want.
Wow. It sounds like she could do like bimbofication art though. Maybe.
I think only Frank Hansel's allowed to do that.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Bimbofication.
Prescribing the bimbo gas.
Yeah. What does he do? What's it called?
Dr. Don
Sissy
Wario.
hypnification.
Yeah. Did you see when he went in Publix and he was just like, the manager comes up, he's like, what are you doing here? He's like, I'm that guy's doctor. That guy's a little female femboy hypno bimbo slave. And then the fucking like manager just like walks away, doesn't call the police, anything. He just leaves.
Well, I mean, he's his doctor, so he's got to inform.
Yeah. Dr. Don Wario.
Oh, I haven't seen it. Was that like on his Gumroad or something? I haven't seen any of his Gumroad stuff. If it was,
and I guess that's what's weird.
I think it was
Sam's. I'm only subscribed to Sam's.
I'm only subscribed to Sam's too. I like Frank, but like, I like when he does shit like that. I don't like when he like goes to the beach and just like there's no act. He just like messes with people just who are just like on vacation, like just bothering them. But like other people I know have Frank's thing, and sometimes you can catch him on YouTube when he uploads them. So, or somebody uploads them. I assume it's him.
It's hard to know with that type at this point. Hold on. Cyber sent a very long message, and I want to read it because it's
wow.
It's stay in your home forever. Talk to no one in person. Your only contact to the outside world will be on corporate-owned and controlled platforms. Remain angry at social media spectators, which are not real people. but exaggerated
Oh, cool.
caricature is meant to drive metrics. Find nothing in common with your fellow man. Buy from Amazon and stream Netflix. That's what's happening. Yeah, he gets.
Yeah.
Oh, good. You know where my head's at all times.
Yes, sir. Everybody clap for the billionaires and the services they've rendered to us.
It's bad. It's bad.
No, I was gonna say, speaking of like you were talking about all of the new billionaires this year and like conspiracy type stuff.
Sure.
And I was talking about books. The quote that I always like to tell people is from David Rockefeller's autobiographical memoirs. It's like a 500-page book or something. But he has in chapter 27, he talks about being a proud internationalist, and he says straight up, like one of the first paragraphs is, for more than a century, ideological extremists at either end of the political spectrum have seized upon well-publicized incidents, such as my encounter with Castro to attack the Rockefeller family, for the inordinate influence they claim we wield over American political and economic institutions. Some even believe we are part of a secret cabal working against the best interests of the United States, characterizing my family and me as internationalists, and of conspiring with others around the world to build a more integrated global political and economic structure. One world, if you will. If that's the charge, I stand guilty and I'm proud of it.
And
Ein Reich, ein Welt.
Part of me gets it and part of me hates it, because my whole thing is like, well, it'd be nice to get along with everybody. At the same time, I've watched Gundam. I know what happens. Like, I've seen what happens in the Universal Century. It's like, it's
well, that eventually will be the way the world is.
Remember?
But do I get to pilot a Gundam? See.
Probably.
Okay,
Hey,
cool. Then I'm
do you
good.
remember do you remember what John Robinson was told about the Bilderberg group in them?
He wrote a lot of things about the Bilderberg group, but what?
Well, basically, he was told by one of the former guys who went there. It's just like, yeah, it's just a bunch of people who think that liberal capitalism will usher in like world peace, basically.
Yeah, that's their whole point.
Yeah, it's the same sort of view.
Sure, yeah.
Well, it's like
they want Gundam
like
to
Julian
happen.
Huxley. It's like when Julian Huxley, like in the 60s, wrote I think it was in the 60s, like the philosophy for UNESCO. He talked about like the synthesis of capitalism and communism would kind of bring in like the kind of new system that they had planned for in like a world government.
Communistalism. Is that a thing? What is that even called? Do we have a word for that yet?
Well, it'd be like a technocratic thing, is what I would assume.
State capitalism, maybe, probably.
Technocratic. That sounds a little familiar.
I hate it already.
It's what we have it's what the EU wants to be.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit like the system of government we are currently, like the actual government we have. It's a technocratic oligarchy.
It's like this thing where it's like controlled through like technology, and everything's kind of like controlled down to like the littlest like part of your life, basically.
Reminds me of a bit from Starship Troopers.
I love that movie, but I don't want to live in it.
The book. I'm talking about the book, not that Powerhofer bastardized piece.
I mean, I know it. I know the movie's very different. I've read the book as well, though, so I get it.
Okay, now about the part where he talks about the revolt of the scientists. That's basically where we are now.
So when did which parts of the bugs happen though? When do we get the cool? When does the cool stuff happen? Can you tell me?
No, we get everything except for the cool stuff. That's the way this dystopia works.
That's always
Everything
what
but the
they
cool
say.
stuff.
No, the meat of the Starship Troopers book, because of course I read it, is really about like the moral philosophy classes and shit, Dubois and all that, you know. Which again, I read Highlander's work. Like The Moon is a Harsh Mistress is a fantastic novel.
It sure
is.
is.
I haven't read that one yet.
Here's my copy. Oh, here's the actually, yeah, Billy. This is your copy you sent me, which I read and very much enjoyed.
Oh,
there it is.
It's Starship Troopers is more about the moral question that it poses to the reader is, when is it okay to use violence?
Good luck.
And,
that too.
And the argument that Heinlein puts forth is that in essence might makes right. If you can't defend what you have, then you're going to lose it eventually. He of course brings up Carthage and Japan after the Second World War. It's a good book. I think Paul Verhoeven was very uncharitable with it.
It's an interesting thing where he almost got the exact opposite thing of what Mr. Heinlein was trying to create, but he still managed to create an interesting satirical take.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like it still works, but for a
the film
different
is hilarious.
I love that movie. I've seen it a million times, but it's a completely different take on the subject material.
Because the book just says it is like might does make right, as in if you can't defend what you have, then you're going to lose it, right? It's a very matter of fact sort of thing. It's not saying it's great. It's not saying it's good. I don't really think so. But Paul Verhoeven, he took it in his own direction. It's funny, it's hilarious, and it's in fact I think very relevant today.
I love that movie. I love it.
But
I think
I'm a Highlander fan. What can I say?
I get it. Heinlein's a good writer. Yeah.
I feel like when it comes to like the big plan for like, we're gonna make it so there's a synthesis of communism and capitalism and blah 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 blah. I feel like all of that would be a little easier to be like, okay, well it's out of our hands. I guess we just got to roll with it. But it's like, but you see these people just doing things that are blatantly self-serving and corrupt and like massively detrimental to the people they're supposed to be taking care of. So it's like, whoa. If you guys think that you're the ones that need to be in charge of this glorious new system, you're absolutely unfit to be followed by a janitor.
I think that the whole synthesis between communism and capitalism is, hokum. What we're really going to get is the cyberpunk. I would call it fascist because the people define corporatocracy as fascism. Because you had Fiat executives in the Italian fascist government. You had Porsche made tanks for the Germans, and Hugo Boss and all that shit. I think
but that's not how
it should be incestuous. We're gonna have like the incestuous corporate government. What do you call it? Again, some people would call it fascist.
Corporatocracy or something.
Yeah, corporatocracy. People define corporatocracy as fascist because, of course, a feature of fascist regimes is, of course, corporate executives are in government. Like Fiat was in the Italian fascist government.
Yeah, or oligarchy, maybe.
No, it's not. Well, again, it's hard to define.
I just use technocracy usually is the basic way because you think of like the whole cyberpunk thing.
Yeah, because communism, is basically a dead ideology, man. Like, only college kids are serious about it. Nobody else is.
Yeah, you used to see communism as like a tool for like a means to an end more than anything.
No, I think it's just professors selling it to kids, really. That's really.
They all think they're going to get to stick around too.
I mean, like historically, like that's how it's kind of been used.
Yeah, it's always been used as like, hey, these billionaires are the ones fucking you guys over. We should tear down all their shit and burn them alive. And then they do that, and it's like, cool, now what? And it's like, okay, well, all you guys now have to be rounded up because we don't want you doing that to us.
Yeah.
Well, wait, who are you? I'm you, but stronger.
Pretty much.
I don't even understand what I'm laughing at yet, but I keep laughing. It's great.
Kid, how drunk are you?
Very.
You seemed drunk earlier, now you seem even more.
Very.
I'm drinking that whiskey you got me too. It's good.
That Glyph stuff, it's too smooth. No, I'm drinking their.
It's like so good, yeah.
Yeah, I'm drinking their sake because it's only 16% alcohol, but it's a little too smooth, but also just smooth enough. We got 45 minutes left. I could have a bit more.
But in short, we voted for the cyberpunk future, but our aesthetic sucks. So enjoy.
What do you always?
That's why I'm focusing on aesthetics with Vivid, because obviously we're not going to be like cracking the code and figuring out what to call the new power structure. We fixed it. It's like none of us are in a position to actually do anything that blatant. But I still feel like at least we can sort of keep the human spirit alive through really good stories and art and fiction. And, the process of doing that, I think, can make even a dystopia kind of worth surviving through. So that's what I plan to do.
You gotta be alive at some point in history.
I'm sorry, Billy?
Spider Walker by fucking sitting on the Spider Walker. She's so fat. That's our Major Kusanagi.
I was like, no. As soon as you said the stuff about Cyberpunk, I'm like, he's gonna make the fat Major Kusanagi joke. It's coming, and
it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
It makes me sad though, because I want to be the sexy Major Kusanagi. That's all I want out of life.
Yeah, but the mental image of her breaking the Spider Walker by sitting on it—that's funny.
It is.
Yeah,
it is much. I've seen Mamoru Oshii's Ghost in the Shell many times, and imagining that movie with a much fatter protagonist is very funny. Like,
Plus size Kizuragi. Plus size major, dude. One too many pizzas major.
She's the major squared.
And of course, you know
Major
the guy.
heart attack.
Major heart attack. What's your name? Major. The major heart attack.
Cyberpunk dystopia only boring, which is basically true.
I mean, I don't know. A 400-pound woman crushing tanks and having heart attacks isn't boring. It's not. It's not good, but it's not boring. I don't. You know.
Short movie. She has a heart attack. It's over.
I'm a big Shiro Masamune fan. I love that guy. I've got one of his art books right here. I'm not gonna pull that out.
You can imagine like the fucking the puddle fight scene.
Yeah, where they fight in the puddle. Yeah, well, the quote unquote
just
puddle.
runs into him and knocks him out or something like that. Just that she's so fat, or she can't even keep up because of course she can't run.
Oh, I finally caught up. She does that spin kick, but it's real slow. Oh.
It's like not up high enough. She misses the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like she loses her balance and falls over.
Oh, Shiro Masamune is. I was gonna say spin in his grave, but that weird pervert's still alive.
No, I was gonna say this reminds me of have you guys seen like the recent like fetishization of that Resident Evil 8 character?
Oh yeah, the village lady.
God, yeah.
People like her.
Big titty vampire.
I mean, at least we're bringing back
Yeah, that's what
like
it seems
somewhat
like.
conventionally attractive women. We're like, okay, big tits. All right, cool. This is good. This will
Really
make
tall.
Hopefully, this will make some people normal. And I can draw.
Did you say Julie?
What?
You said Julie was like very tall.
Oh yes, the woman I dated in college. Yeah, she was taller than me, and I'm 6 feet tall. So.
She's a tall vampire lady, so she should be up your street.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's not get too into my private life, but whew, a little high.
Wherever your alley is, we're up it.
Yeah. Well, I know what I'm about.
How tall is she supposed to be?
The woman in Resident Evil?
Yeah. Is it like 6 something?
I don't know offhand.
She's taller than that. I think she's like almost 7 foot tall. I don't know if it's like the virus that did it or whatever. But
whoa, I can only get so erect, guys. Like.
Cool. If that's COVID. Like all the people that survive COVID, they just like gain a foot in height and they turn into zombie fighters.
That'd be a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Somebody can sneeze in my face. Yeah, I don't know. I'm happy to see that the stupid like sensitivity reader type shit has not infected Japan. They're trying to though. Have you heard about that?
Oh.
They're trying really hard to get that shit over there.
Hazen, I don't know if you know this, but I am on the Keep Misogyny Out of Japan block list. So I know.
What?
No.
That's a real thing?
Yeah, no, when we were first looking up all the block lists I was on, my husband can read and speak a little Japanese, and he was going through all of them, and he's like, hold on, this is the best one. It's Keep Misogyny Out of Japan. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like...
How are you on that?
I'm on the most blocklists of any furry artists. I'm on all of them except
there's just somebody who's making all these that just hates you, and they just always put you on the ones that you have nothing to do with.
I'm not.
No, it's comparative. He's on more than me. I'm on like I think almost 100. He's on like 176.
That was the last time I was able to check.
Let's see how many I'm on.
There used to be
it's all down now. You can't.
Yeah, it's complicated. You used to be able to check it. Now you can't. But the last time I checked, I was on 176 of them. I was beating Dave. Everybody can. But Dave was on the alt furry block list, and I have like a weird immunity to that one. I'm not on that one.
Yeah, well, they don't want to get me too'd.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, they sure will.
So I asked if you've ever read Ed Bernays.
I have not read Ed Bernays. I don't know that offhand. That is somewhat foreign.
He wrote Propaganda, I believe.
Did he? Oh, I would probably be interested in reading that.
Propaganda. Yeah.
I will always read Propaganda. I love it, love it, love it. I've loved it.
Yeah, he's the father of Propaganda, basically. Apparently.
Oh, great! I probably would enjoy it.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, chat. Yeah, I think you would find it very enlightening. Jake says.
Send me some stuff to read. Tomorrow I've got to do my reading for Shots with Comics stuff, but I'm always down to read propaganda stuff.
Oh, damn, he died at 100.
That's probably one of the best propaganda books I've ever read. It's a very good one. I would also endorse that book.
Oh, what's the book?
It's just called Propaganda.
Edward Bernays. Propaganda by Ed Bernays. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
He's like the father of propaganda, yeah. Like he wrote the book on it, literally.
Oh goodness! I would probably get a lot out of that.
I'll let Jake asks. He invented the term public relations.
Oh hell yeah! It's on Audible. Now I can totally get it. It's not even that long. Great.
He reads audio. He listens to audiobooks.
Oh
like
shit! It's free on Audible. Shit! I'll add it to my library. I can start listening to that tomorrow if I get all my Shots with Comics reading done. I got a lot to read. Okay, so
imagine listening to audiobooks.
I read comics because I have to for the show. But then I miss reading. I miss reading real books, but I don't have time.
You can't beat it, man. You can't beat it.
It's a nightmare. I read 3 graphic novels a week, and then it's like, while I'm working, I listen to things, but there's only so much I can do.
I tried audiobooks. I can't do them. I need to see them. I think the term is kinesthetic.
I get it.
I used to listen to them when I did what do you call it?
Landscaping?
Yeah, when I did landscaping.
Wait, don't tell me.
Now Colin used to do landscaping. He got real buff from it.
Yeah, I could lift Kid above my head. No.
He probably could.
And then bench press. Not
Hold on, someone in the chat is asking, oh, by the way, Bone, did you read about Daredevil Comics I sent you some time ago? Maybe. You might have to send that to me again. Sorry, sometimes it takes some repetition to get me to read things, just because I get a lot of... Everybody wants me to read and review something. I read and review a lot of things, but I can't always get all of them. Reading, I think, fun tomorrow. I got some good reviews for tomorrow. Don't worry. But he took very heavily from Freud, and it worked horrifyingly well. Oh, good. So this will be a fun thing to read. Audiobooks work great for me, to be honest. I can't get myself to read huge paragraphs as much as I used to be able to. I get it.
Get rid of distractions. That's my biggest piece of advice.
Yeah. Stuff that's not helping you, get rid of it. I wish I had more time to just read books, because while I was on vacation over the holidays at my parents' house, I was just reading normally, and I was like, my God, I missed this. It was just so nice.
Carve some time out, man. You can't beat it.
No, I actually have. It's not until the next quarter, but I just refilled my next planner for my 2021 planner, and I've taken out an entire commission slot from every month, and suddenly it's like, oh my God, that's so much extra time. Just one commission gone.
Definitely. And hopefully that'll be a progression, because especially reading the chapter 0 pages you posted on the website. I want more. I want more comics. I want you to do more comics, less commissions, more comics.
That's the big plan, is to get to the Alex Ross page rate of 10 pages per month. I can currently, if I'm not doing any commissions and only doing comic pages, I can do 8 pages in a month. If I can get up to 10, I'm gold. That's the goal.
I have advice for how you could accelerate your comic development.
Oh,
go back to digital.
No.
That's the one.
What did he say?
Go back to digital. He hates being told that.
I hate it. People will look at my.
There's a reason they call it Kindle.
No, people will look at my shit and they'll be like, "Yeah, this is cool, but have you considered going back to your old Painter or Photoshop style?" And I'm like,
Do you know who you could take more inspiration from? The Luna Brothers.
Oh boy, I'd get a lot of pages done if I did comics like they did.
Yeah.
For better or for worse.
The Luna Brothers.
Better for
Luna
worse.
Brothers. They're like there's some brothers. Well, I don't think they work together much anymore. Apparently, that's what Chad told me. But apparently, their style is like super simplistic. You know the game Facade, where if
every comic looked like Facade, it would be a Luna Brothers. Yeah, that's how the Luna Brothers. I have some of their books, and some of them are good. like they're well written, but they're never particularly interesting to look at.
Functional is the word you used.
Yeah, they make the most functional comics possible.
It's a comic. That's what we need to say.
That's
what can be said.
Both the Luna brothers, they went to SCAD. We share a degree, so.
Oh.
Yeah,
man.
no kidding. They took the same program I did. We just took very different lessons from it. It's weird to think about. Yeah,
I would be upset too. Don't worry. Went to an expensive art school, and you draw like facade.
They don't even really draw necessarily. It's odd. It seems, from what I can tell, they create models of characters and pose them. It doesn't look.
Oh, what the AWF method?
A little better than that. Not quite as nightmarish.
Everyone, look up AWF Saturday Night. If you want like perfection.
There's nothing like that comic on Earth. That AWF is All Women Fighters Fighting League, or whatever the fuck it stood for. That comic
sounds pretty base, if you ask me.
What the hell is that?
It's bizarre. It's very bizarre.
It is.
I mean, it seems like to me.
It sounds like a Comicsgate comic.
No, it goes back much farther.
It's a bunch of set pieces. Like it's about like a professional wrestling promotion, right? But there's no story. It's just a bunch of set pieces with like gimmicked lady fighters. And that's all it is.
It's like
there's no story. It's
like a fetish comic that someone tried to make into a real comic using like PS2 Rumble Roses graphics. It's utter nightmare.
Second Life. It's a Second Life comic, basically.
Yeah, it's an entirely digital comic about a female wrestling league, and it's a nightmare.
It has no story. It's literally just set pieces and gimmick ladies.
Isn't like all the shit on Second Life like Nightmare Fuel, like Web 1.0 3D CG shit?
Yeah, and this no, but like the only reason we know about AWF is because when me and Chad went to the last convention ever, C2E2 last year, we were walking around the dealer's room and I saw the booth for this. And I was like, and it was just this nightmare 3D comic that looked like awful. But they had a booth.
It's a comic?
It's a yeah.
Like they did screenshots and just like printed this?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
There's issue after issue of this. They've been around for over a decade. I can't remember.
How? Who is buying this?
It's like
If you really want some fun, you gotta check out their trailer. It's animated.
The trailer with the rap song, but it's from Zigency Studios. But we were at the con just looking around, and I saw this booth, and I said, Chad, that booth. And he's like, what? That looks terrible. I'm like, you're gonna buy that. You're gonna buy that book. You're gonna buy that book for Chess Comics. And I made him buy the first issue of it. And we read it, and you can listen to the episode if you want. It's a nightmare, but it's a CGI screenshot.
I need to
comic.
see this.
Oh, I'll send you the link to the episode later because I've never read anything like it, and it just keeps going, and it's awful. And I made Chad pay $6 for
that. Like, I don't even think that's like a thing you can build custom things in, is it? Like, why wouldn't you use like Maya or Blender or something?
I don't know what
they buy models and
no,
import them.
in the issue we talk because they mention what program they use, and it's not Maya or Blender. It's something else. I can't remember. And I don't do this stuff, but and we go to their website, we read their FAQs, we read their testimonials and everything, and it's a nightmare company. There's nothing.
Are they making money?
I don't know. Probably not, unless like there's a huge fetish audience for this shit.
Because printing shit is not cheap. Like that's.
I've sent you a few screenshots of the comic.
It's not Poser. No, they use. I remember
Discord. Uploading right now.
Yeah.
It's literally uploading right now.
Oh, I see.
It's uploading right now. Don't worry.
It's uploading. I see that you messaged me. I mean, sorry, I'm a little wee wow.
No, I'd have to look through our copy. I don't know
What
if
in
me or
the
Chad
fuck
has the
is
copy.
this shit?
I don't know if me or Chad has
Are
the
you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This shit has no weight. It looks like a fucking Ken Penders cover. But
Oh,
like,
yeah,
drawn.
it's crazy.
Guess how much it costs?
The people in the black background are just JPEGs.
Oh yeah, and they'll repeat in the same scene. It's like an utter nightmare. Dave looked through the issue I had, and he was joking. He's like, "Yeah, Vivid's next big property we've acquired is Saturday Night AWF."
What? It's not even printed like a comic. It's like square. Oh wait, maybe that's just how it looks. How much is it? Yeah, how much does it cost?
Each issue of about 30 to 40 pages is $6. I know because I made Chad buy a copy.
She did quite well. She is not perfect luchadora. She's not a perfect luchadora.
Oh,
yet,
that's the part about Slamazon. Yeah, my favorite character.
She will get there over time. Wow, some riveting dialogue.
No,
I'm at the edge of my fucking seat.
Hassan, they have a rap, like they have a YouTube music video.
Here we go.
No, you do need to watch the YouTube rap. Do you think we'd get DMCA'd if we played that on stream?
No, I don't think
Probably
so.
not, unless they have it on CD Baby, which they might.
I'll try to.
Is it like the DK rap? Please tell me it's like that.
No, it's like a trap sort of remix of. It's like how would I explain it? It's like no, think of like there's some parts where they obviously like stolen it from WWE, like because you can hear Michael Cole and fucking Taz talking.
Oh no, it's got like stolen shit in there.
Yeah, you got some stolen voices, but it's like a very bizarre trap remix of AWF, and you can't understand the lyrics. I only know the Slamazon bit. You know, it was a very. I might fucking find it. Where is it? I might try and find it.
I'm playing it.
Saturday night. Oh.
I can't hear it.
Via stream.
I don't know if it's playing on the stream or not. I put a link to it.
Oh, it is.
I'm looking at the screen caps they have. There's Slamazon, yeah. Slamazon is the...
like...
Oh, that was too fast to read.
It sounds like somebody took one of those baby dolls that like talks when you press their stomach or something. It's like, mommy, poppy, like or something, and they put it in like a washing machine with some fucking cymbals, with some hi-hats.
No, I know one of the uploads that was uploaded by Exigency Studios, I left a comment that said, "This is my favorite comic," and they liked that, and they responded to it, and I was like, I don't have the heart to tell them this was something I said as a joke. Just, it's in terms of reading material, it's not good. It's not like so bad it's good because it's unreadable. But just looking through the screenshots that are the comic quote unquote panels, they are funny because they're so bad. Don't read it, just look at it. Just and know that there's dozens and dozens of issues of this thing, and realize that you do have a chance, but also you don't. That's what you take away from it. It's
well, yes, but actually no.
It's just I don't have the episode where we were re-review it on hand, but because I read the whole thing, I don't think Chad made it through it, which I don't blame him. Like, you get a few panels in and you're just like, oh god, this is not a real story by humans. You like, your mind just rejects it, and you immediately know you're not supposed to put this into yourself.
Dude,
and he was smart and stopped, but I read the whole thing.
By the way, I'm posting the actual trailer in chat. I found it.
There's a trailer.
There's multiple trailers.
It's animated.
Why is it animated? The thing is a comic.
Yeah, this is the one where I left a comment where I have the top voted comment with "This is my favorite comic." Thank you. I enjoy writing and rendering this title, says Zigency Studio. I don't have the heart to tell him that I said that as a joke.
I have God, this looks so. You know what this reminds me of? That picture of that woman that's supposed to be holding a baby on DeviantArt, but it's just like a full-grown man model that's like shrunk down, and there's a guy underneath it that says, "God, I wish that were me." That's what this looks like.
Is that where
like
God, I wish that were me came from? Because I see that.
Yeah,
everywhere.
yeah, that's where that came from. But and that's what it makes me think of. Oh man, like I do like music and sound design shit for like porn stuff a lot. Like that's a lot of like my bread and butter.
I get you.
Yeah, for like 3D like CG porn stuff that people make. Some of it's surprisingly very well animated production wise.
Yeah, you get a Studio FOW title or something. It's like, oh, that's well done. Yeah.
Yeah, it like there's it's stuff I really am not into, but like the money is good. The people I work with are kind.
Sure.
Like I just am like, okay, I'll do it. And then like I see like the stuff they make, and it's like there's like some passion in there. There's people making this stuff who care about how it looks and stuff. This does not look like that. This looks like some shit that was just like
been at this for over a decade.
Together.
He's done this forever. We went onto their website. We read it on the episode where it's I've never encountered anything like it. It's so delusional.
And this video has 20 views. It was it's been up for a half a year.
And I'm one
of
them.
20 views.
I'm one of the views.
Not bad. A bit more animation to the people would enhance it.
So Vivid Publishing is 10% of the views. Okay. Off to a good start.
Oh, Dave,
we'll give this guy some views.
That's why your search history was like so whack that one time I came over.
Yeah, that's
women wrestling Second Life.
No, I feel bad because I made.
It was definitely because I was searching for this video, not because that's what I'm always typing.
I feel bad because I made Chad buy the book, and like he had to talk to the people who made it, and they just were like, "Yeah, wow, you're into this." He's like, and he's like, "Fuck you, kid. You have to buy it next time." I was like, "I'm never gonna do that."
Oh.
Everyone loves the perfection that is
They've
AWS.
been doing this forever, though. They've been around forever as Zigency Studios.
Well,
they're a quote-unquote real thing.
There's a lesson here that you shouldn't be ashamed of what you make because these people brazenly do this.
Yeah, if you feel bad
you
about...
know what? I'm just going to go ahead and start drawing my comic tonight.
Yeah,
probably.
right? See?
Yeah, I'm good enough. This shit's out there. Fucking, I'm there. Whatever. Fuck it. It doesn't matter. I don't fucking care anymore. This is kind of passes for content and gets sold at conventions. I'm gonna do my comic tonight. I'm gonna draw it all in one night.
These people weren't even These people weren't even an artist alley table at C2E2. They had a dealer's table. Those are really, really expensive.
$500-600, right?
Oh, $500-600 for an artist alley table. Like dealer's tables are thousands. Yeah, like Sean Gordon Murphy had an artist alley table. These guys had a dealer's den table.
It sounds like these guys have very comfortable jobs.
I don't know. I want to just take them. I want to take them to lunch and just talk to them and just listen.
Get Ron Johnson on the horn. Have him do it.
Yeah, get John Ronson to do it. Be like, hey, John, you want to talk to the weird wrestling comics people? He'd be like, no, I have to talk to Alex Jones. He's in Wales this week.
Oh, that's bad.
Listen, all right. You do your Missouri accent, all right?
Yeah, I've always heard British people complain that no one knows how to do a British accent, and then like you just meet somebody and talk like that, and they fucking are fooled by it.
British accent. That's why I got a London accent. As soon as I step outside London, people know I'm from London because this is a London accent.
It's true.
But there's like.
I'm not trying to dox you from Essex. You sound like you got like a little bit of Cockney going on.
London.
He's from London. Yeah.
I'm from Enfield, Edmonton.
Oh, you're originally from fucking London. Okay.
No, I live in London still.
Yep.
That mean you've lived there since you were born or whatever. Yeah. Like that's where you're from.
Yep.
Where I was born.
I'll believe whatever you tell me. You could tell me you're Jamaica and I'd buy that.
Wait, your real place?
Jamaica returns.
Night out.
Hey, what was that?
I thought London was like Atlantis or something.
Someone in the chat says they're from Essex, so there you go.
Wait, who's from Essex? I feel sorry for you.
Someone named Udinese.
I'm not from. I would not want to be Essex, man. You know.
Why is Essex no good?
Essex is
like.
Essex is like. The best way to describe it would be like New Jersey, sort of.
Oh,
maybe.
okay.
Like Jersey, sort of. Yeah.
I'd say it's more like Berkeley.
But no, Essex is like full of chavs, man.
Chavs?
It's like Berkeley, but like right wing kind of.
Or is it chavs? No, it's like full of chavs. That's the Essex thing. Full of chavs. Basically.
If you was my brother, I'd kill you.
Yeah.
Hogans, hoodlums, you know, that kind of thing. That's a chav.
Yeah. Wait, Billy, is that Cockney? No, I'm not Cockney, no.
Well, it's Coyote. He knows. He's fucking around.
Yeah, I know, he knows.
It sounds kind of Cockney to me. It doesn't sound like people I've heard from London.
It's a London accent.
Billy is definitely from London. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm not doubting you. I'm just saying it sounds a little bit.
I got family who are. Well, I'm self-taught in regard to how I speak. It's like people. I say I'm from Edmonton, and no one believes me because the Edmonton accent is a bit heavier. You know, sort of.
I've got a St. Louis accent for sure. Like it especially comes out when I get wound up. But
I can sound quite posh, but well, you know, I can. But
we're Americans. We hear your British accent at all, and we're like, well, he must be intelligent. He must be a genius.
Gordon Ramsay.
Coyote asked that because when I was in Portage, you know, where Cyber lives, a lady in the diner, which had the best coffee I ever had, asked me if I was Cockney.
I mean, you know, what's that poor lady from Indiana, Gary, Indiana, or whatever? Like, what's she gonna know?
Like, are you Cockney? She just had to make a pass at you, boy. Listen.
Probably was.
Trying to get at that Jack, get that crumpet and scones.
I just said, well, you know, sort of, because I got family who are. Sort of, yeah, you know. But it's a London accent. The Cockney is like, you don't really hear it so much these days, because honestly, there's not so much of it these days. Like the rhyming slang. Yeah, it's not really much of a thing now these days, man. It's sort of integrated into the wider London accent. Yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah, the people think it like, I don't know. People still think it's like, I don't know, Sherlock.
Yeah.
Which in some way
they think that's Cockney.
We can't help it. All right.
You go down, say Spitalfields, right? And you are in like Victorian streets. Streets that have basically been unchanged since like the Victorian era. Because I visited a lot of those areas before, so that's how it is, I guess. You know. But no, I'm not Cockney. It's a specific thing. Like you speak a certain way, and I don't really... Oh, what's this? Sorry, I got a message. Yeah, it's like 50 IQ things in English. Most know the 50 IQ. Sorry, one minute. Billy is the most Londoner that's ever. No, man. There are people who sound way more London than me, way more. Right? It's like some of the people I went to school with, like they're in prison for armed robbery and shit.
Now you sound like my dad talking.
What were they armed with?
I think I had a gun. Armed police came out.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, in London, that's a big deal to have a gun.
I mean, again, the shootings have happened near me. It's just
you'll send me messages. You'll be like, oh, there was like another stabbing today, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, there's a lot of fucking stabbing around you.
Again, down the road, down 4th Street, that's like the old Roman road. Right next to Edmonton Police Station, someone got shot on Sylvester Park Road.
Shit happens.
It's like an estate. It's a gang shit, you know.
God.
And of course, walking home, I've seen a dead guy before.
Billy, are you part of a gang? Are there?
No, absolutely not, man.
What are the names?
No.
What are the London gangs? What are they called? Like the top hats?
London, right? No. In London, right? This is how it is. In America, of course, you have like gang colors, Bloods, Crips, and all that shit, right?
Yeah, that's all we have is Bloods and
In
Crips.
London, you got the...
We organize along postal codes.
Beaver Boys.
No, you know, we organize on postal codes. So I'm in N18. N18 and N9, for example, which are both Edmonton, but N9 is Northern Edmonton, N18 is Lower Edmonton. Upper and Lower.
Can you not wear certain colors?
N9 is
or you'll get like fucked up.
The gang colors aren't such a thing here.
Oh,
Gang
okay.
colors ain't such a thing.
That's like
But
that's the thing over
postcode-
here. It's like don't wear that color or you'll get stabbed or
Postcode,
not stabbed.
Like
I
literally,
don't know.
like your zip code, your postcode is like.
Gang colors in America are a red and black, and then American flag are the two gang colors.
Yeah.
No, it's,
there you go.
it's red and blue. Blue is
Oh, okay.
Crips, red is Bloods.
He's
Yeah,
making
Dave,
a
don't
joke.
you know anything?
But,
Don't you know anything about Crips, you idiot?
Yeah, come
But,
on. Vivid has an alliance with, you know.
London is like postcodes. It's like your zip code. Like gangs from different postcodes don't like each other.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now some of the gangs in London is like I only know Tottenham Mandem, which is like just down the road from me. I literally like 5 minutes you're in Tottenham, and that's that's what I call Mandem territory. And apparently, like they're known for like Tottenham's known for its guns. Like some shootings happen there.
This place in London known for its guns.
Well, yeah, Tottenham's
What
known
is
for
it,
being
East
like.
St. Louis? Jesus.
No. It's usually it's like if something happens, it's like. I know a local cinema down there was at the site of a shooting. It was a gang thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's usually stabbing, you know, because you know you can't. What are you gonna do? You know, you can't really adequately ban knives, you know.
Yeah.
Like our version of the AR-15 or assault weapon is they literally just call them zombie knives because it's like those big zombie knives you could buy.
Well, me and you, we've talked about it because, you know, I have all my sportsman hobbies. And I was like, well, carp are big over in London. How would you do bow fishing? Because that's what I do for carp. And you're like, oh, you can't legally hunt with a bow in the UK. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
what the hell?
Yeah, no, that's
Longbow land doesn't allow bows.
No.
seems to be
The place that is known for the British longbow, you can't hunt with that. It's crazy. Like,
well, not unless you're rich.
Yeah.
What are
it's
they afraid you're gonna do with it that you won't do with a fucking
the idea
rifle?
is, the justification is that it's cruel to the animal. So you know.
I mean,
it.
it can be if you're like a fucking weirdo. Like,
They have factory farms there.
Yep.
Yeah.
it's so weird. And it's like, plus it's like, okay, what about bow fishing? Like, they're fish. Like, they don't really feel pain the same as regular animals. Like, you know, you still can't do that. All right.
Yep.
But
I've
over
never
there,
hunted before.
but simultaneously over there, they're not an invasive species. They're a native thing. Over here, they're invasive. So you know.
So you can throw grenades in and that'd be absolutely fine.
Nobody fucking cares what you do to carp over here. People want them.
That's what they were doing.
People want
this weekend.
This summer. to
Yeah,
go,
yeah. Instead of going to
fishing in
Anthrocon, we're gonna
Peoria.
go to Peoria, Illinois, and catch as many silver carp as we can.
It's sort of strange over here, you know. You've probably heard. Yeah, well, Kit knows it's like, there's of course there's paperwork, but it's also like some places prohibit angling, and you can't do that, you know.
You can't even
That sort of
like
thing.
you can't even fish with like a rod and reel.
Oh, you can. But some places say you can't angle there.
Well,
Can't.
because angling is just using a rod and reel. It's an angler is someone who uses those. So
Yeah, but of course we can't bow fish. So if you can't angle, well, what are you gonna do? Like jump in the water and
I mean,
you know,
there's
pull-
you can catch carp on a rod and reel, but you know, bow fishing,
Yeah.
it's just because they're just brazen. It's like, oh, there's one right there.
Yeah.
Just shoot it.
if there's very few places to do it, and of course they all have their own like bylaws and shit. Like the nearest place I can angle, I think, is Lee Valley Park, which is like Tottenham Marsh, and it's like it's a national park, and it's in walking distance. But you know, there's paperwork, and of course there's like sometimes you can't take it home, and of course you can't cook it. You can catch it, you just have to put them back.
Oh, catch
So
and
what's the
release.
point? You know?
Yeah, no, me and Dave are like that, where neither of us are like, why would you do catch and release? What's the point? But
That's
there's,
not cruel.
people are really there's a lot of people who are really into catch and release. I like to take it home and cook it and put it in my freezer or cook it that night. You know, people have, I've done.
I like to eat.
And of
Yeah.
course, London don't really have much animals apart from foxes, squirrels. You know that. And you can't hunt foxes. Well, you can hunt foxes if you're rich, but you know.
Get this. You got Dave and Hazen. You might not even put this together, but Billy, when he first visited me 2 years ago, he had never seen mosquitoes before because they just don't have mosquitoes in Britain.
It's too fucking cold up there.
It's just weird to think about because they're a constant nuisance here.
Even in the northern parts of the US.
We get
and
mosquitoes.
Canada,
We get mosquitoes in Michigan. Like, don't you know?
Hey, kid, you should ask Coyote, but when I stopped outside your house, right? Well, not your house, but your parents' house,
My parents'
right?
house, yeah.
And I heard the chirping of the crickets. I exclaimed because I thought that was only in films.
Oh, the cicadas? Yeah, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
There's a
Coyote, but that's not.
There's a guy fucking. There was a guy who came and visited here from California, and he had no idea that fireflies were like a real thing.
Well,
he thought they were just in like made up thing for movies, Disney movies and shit. And like, no, they're real bugs, dude.
He's like the Owl City song, you know.
Yeah,
Fireflies.
he's just like that.
But I did not know that the crickets made that sound at night. I thought it was just a movie thing.
That's not crickets.
You know?
That's cicadas that you're hearing.
Oh.
Like in anime, you'll hear them all the time. Yeah,
Yeah,
cicadas.
Igarashi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, you'll hear
We actually
cicadas everywhere.
No,
We
I
actually
did
have
not
crickets
know.
outside.
Ask Cyber, ask Coyote. I literally exclaimed. I was like, wait. And I was like,
That's like a
doing,
real
like,
thing.
quiet.
It's like, yeah. You hear those all the time.
All I hear is like distant cars, police sirens, and foxes.
That's so funny. We have foxes.
Yeah.
We have foxes too, but just not as often as you. You send me like audio clips and stuff of them. And it's like, oh, you have them constantly.
Yeah, because there's nothing here that hunts them. You know, they're literally the apex predator.
Well, where I live right now in Michigan, it's all skunks. It's just skunks everywhere.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we only have squirrel, foxes. I bird watch. I like to see what birds. Like I've noticed in recent years, the diversity of birds is like much more in London. But that's why we do. Wait, sorry.
My mom does bird watching, so I get you.
Yeah, I like birds. I actually like birds, but the wildlife here ain't really varied, you know. But although you can see some nice birds in Tottenham Marsh. Like, I've seen a kestrel down there. I think I've seen a sparrowhawk, but I'm not too sure.
Well, we're out bow fishing and stuff. We'll see like the cranes and stuff, and those are pretty cool. So they're everywhere in Michigan.
It's not every
pigeons.
A few times in Sterling State Park, we've seen bald eagles flying around.
You'll see them everywhere. If you're at the rivers down in Missouri, they're just constant.
We actually have crickets around here in near the stream.
Do you have
We also have-
Do you have mosquitoes though?
Yes, lots of them.
Oh wow! All right, Billy, you're the lucky one then. No mosquitoes.
And we've also been having a tick plague for about a decade.
A what plague? A dick plague?
Sorry, did you say dick plague?
Tick.
I believe the American word for that is masturbation.
No, he said tick with a T, the Lyme disease carrying ones.
Tunnel
Okay,
foe.
I know all about ticks. I can tell you about them. Ugh.
Yeah, we also.
Watch out for those things, man. They will fuck up your life.
Yeah, in the summer I can pull like 2 to 5 from my cat every day.
Oh, you pluck them off your cat. I'm sorry, that sucks. I plucked them off Ditko before. So
Do you have like do they sell flea collars and shit? Some of those get rid of ticks, like repel them.
They do, but they do to a degree. But you'll still find them. Like
My cat doesn't like collars.
there's
sometimes they make like a little like oil you can put on there.
Yeah, that you do every 3 months or so. That you do like a.
That shit doesn't work. Ticks are just ticks are assholes around here.
It does a little, but ticks are aggressive. Like they're not easy to deal with.
We also have cranes on a regular basis.
Yeah, so do we. All right. We have blue herons, kind of thing.
Yeah, we have them quite often. I can often see them in the summer.
Yeah, no, when we go out fish, I think when we did the beachheads thing, people were seeing all sorts of birds and herons and things up here. So.
Yeah. I don't know if it's too early to be talking about that, but do you have any like? Say what?
No, let's start hyping it up. Beachheads 2021.
Yeah, so I'm just excited after our little walk in the wilderness the other day. Like, do you know yet? Because I was like, let me know when we can start market. Like, because I basically put you in charge of it because you're more wilderness than me. But are we thinking like a walleye fishing run, boat rental? Are we thinking those little cabins along Lake Erie?
I've got a few ideas. I haven't looked into it since Wednesday when we were talking about it because I've worked on other stuff. But I have a few ideas. My big one is I would like to do the Beachheads meetup and coincide it with a take on the Detroit River Walleye Run, which is a huge thing. There's just hundreds, thousands of the things, and you can catch a lot of them. And I think
good fish too.
The ideal Beachheads meetup for me would be, we do all the stuff we did last year, fun, but then also we take a charter boat out and we all just catch as many walleye and whatever else as we can in April or May.
And of course, as the name implies, everyone gets to line up on the beach and give me head.
That too, I would like that, but
that's
I like that.
I like it. But
I'm gonna
Michigan,
aim to
especially
make
the
that,
Detroit area, is known for having a crazy good walleye run. There's lots of charter boats. I'm looking into what it would take to have the Beachheads meetup also have a charter walleye run and go with it. I think that would be a really fun thing to do. Since last year, we took everybody out for bluegill, and they loved it. So what if we did a real fishing trip? So I'm going to see what I can put together.
I'm legit excited for walleye. I really want to catch some walleye this year.
They're very tasty. You can catch a lot of them, especially because what you do is you do the walleye run before you do the largemouth bass run, which opens usually in late May, early June. Walleye they just go nuts in the spring. So I will see what I can put together that is reasonable. There are charter fishing groups around the area. But I'll basically what I'm gonna do is look at what is available, what are all the prices. I'll make a big data sheet and be like, all right, Dave, what can we afford, or what can we proposition to people as, all right, the more people who sign on for this, the more people we can bring along. It should be fun.
And we might have 2 levels of tickets. Like here's like you're on the boat level of ticket, because then we can all pay for the boat, and then beyond that, I don't know. We'll see what else is involved. We might not even have to charge for the second level. We might just put that in there so we can keep track.
Yeah, it just depends on what it costs. I'm also keeping track of Dave, me, and a bunch of our local friends. Like, all right, how can we get our hunting licenses this year? Okay, we can do that, but we have to go up to Genesee at this certain. They make it complicated to have really good hobbies up here. They're worth it, but they're complicated. So, but that's my job.
I'm gonna rip over influence on global politics wanes. It's like we want to have more and more influence over the stuff that we can actually affect with our own hands right around us.
What we all want to really do is get our licenses, but also get small, silent hand crossbows and shoot the rabbits in our local neighborhoods for food.
Mm-hmm.
There's rabbits.
I've already been doing that for the past months.
Oh, okay. Good on you. You're caught up then.
I'm gonna go to bed now. I've been trying to tell you for 10 minutes.
Oh, you're out of here, Nico? Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, I want to leave, but I'm too polite to just bugger off. So
it's very European of you. We love having you, though, buddy. It's always good to hear from you, our far-flung
have a good night.
correspondent.
Well,
have a nice night.
Yeah, I must admit I've been using you to stay awake to get some more homework done, but
hey, well, at least it was productive.
Nice.
Have a good night.
You all too.
Glad to have you, buddy. Glad to have you. Everybody say good night to Nico, okay? Make him feel appreciated.
No, I will say it's kind of getting towards.
We are right at the end. Yeah, we're right there. So.
And I finished.
It's like I've just 2 more minutes. I'll stay. So.
Yeah.
Sure. Let's wrap it up. All right. Oh, the chat is saying goodnight to Nico. Thank you, everybody. You have to say goodnight to all of us now because it's 10. We do 7 to 10 usually. So, any last minuto thoughts anybody wants to put in? Dave managed to live pencil the last page of Volume 5. Wow, spoilers.
actually, let me shill that a little bit, I guess. So, obviously, Volume 5 is on track. We are working on it. We're getting it finished up. Now I just got to color it. So, if you want to make sure that you get your hard copy, and it will be a hardcover with foil stamping and all, hit up Indiegogo. Just search Dreamkeepers on Indiegogo. You can still jump in. It's in demand. And the other thing I will, of course, shill is get ready for the false start Indiegogo, and Bone can slap a link where you can sign up to get announcements for that.
Oh, that was the wrong link. Sorry. I had some. Oh, someone logged out.
That's the wrong number.
Someone did not want to listen to that shit. Oh, where's my Indiegogo link? Oh God, where'd it go? There it is. There it is. Yeah, no, I can put the false start. That is going live in March, so a month and a half out from now. But if you would like to, yeah, I know it's crazy, but it's.
We got a lot of prep to do for that.
I'll be fine. Me and AJ are writing the video we want to do to go along with it. I have a lot of ideas. I probably need to call you about what I want to do with the video to go with the project, but 178 pages. I worked on it in the background for 10 years. It's important to me. It's interesting. There's not really any furry comics like it. From what I've seen and what I'm told, so hopefully find something.
Well, how about Man's Best Friend with Benefits?
Oh, that's probably the closest correlatory. Yeah, that's about. I left a company I was working with over that exact comic because it disgusted me so much, which doesn't happen often, but that guy also turned out to be a sex criminal, so you know. Sometimes...
Indeed, a fine example of humanity.
Oh wow, something we have in common.
Oh, wait, what?
Who said that? That wasn't me.
No, who knows? Who knows? No, that's another plan of ours is to make for my YouTube channel is to have me just doing speed drawings, just telling the many stories of my career over the last 15 years and how weird it's been. Because I'm just used to these stories. But then I tell them to people, and they're like, you should make a YouTube channel. I'm like, all right. Not Man's Best Friends with Benefits. No. There you go. The chat's getting into it. Yeah, there you go. There's the link. You can sign up to get updates about the campaign. It should go live sometime in March. More information as the months drag on. So.
I want to see what your money where your mouth is.
Please do. Please. It makes a big ass difference.
And I will say, too, minor additional shilling, it helps a lot if we can build up the readership of that before the launch. So, again, cool friends only. If you know anyone that's not a psycho and they like cool comics and furry stuff, start sharing the False Start website around in some chat rooms and stuff. Oneituscomics.com.
Yeah, because every time I post it somewhere, like when I got on the Fediverse and started posting there, like some guy immediately read the whole thing. He's like, wow, this is awesome. People seem to be into it. They just don't know about it.
Yep. Well, we're going to start that.
We're going to make sure that changes. People knowing about it.
Yeah, that's
half the battle.
That's the weird dichotomy of it. Is people don't know about it, but the people who do know about it are like, oh, this is interesting. I'm like, oh, I made something interesting over the past decade of my life. Great. I didn't waste it all.
Make so much money from this that you can hire the Avalanches to do a soundtrack for it.
That's I mean, I have goals. Oh my goodness, but we'll see.
Film version directed by Hideo Kojima.
Oh, I can only get so erect. But anyway, in the chat there is where you can read False Start and or Vampire Hunter Boyfriends, the other comic I do, which is also we'll do that at some point too. But
Vampire Hunter Boyfriends directed by David Lynch.
That'd be awesome. I'd love it. That'd be so good.
So we got Beachheads coming up. Anyone else want to mention anything else while the stream is wrapping up?
We got False Start.
Yes,
we got comics to read. We got
chess.
Beachheads. You can catch Walleye with us as long as I put that together properly. We're gonna go to Peoria, Illinois, instead of Anthrocon, and catch the silver carp. it's gonna be 2021 is gonna be a fun year. I'm telling you.
I think so. Yeah.
Let's see.
All right. Well, I gotta prove Billy wrong about that chess thing. Hopefully.
Oh, you gotta kick his ass in chess. Billy, it was good to
know,
have you on the stream, though, man. It's been so long since I've heard your beautiful voice. I talk to you every day, but you know.
My beautiful man. Dear Lord, no. Ugh. But I'm glad to be here. I will try and make it again another time.
We love having you, man. We love having you.
It's just the background effects of whatever I had, like the COVID.
Hey, people, Billy, of all people, I understand. Humans get sick. Yeah. It happens.
If you want to know how the game between me and Dave is going, I've just taken his rook. He has only... yeah.
Fuck you, David Lilly. You can't even play chess.
Well, basically, you know what? I forced him to sacrifice his rook, basically.
Son of
Fuck
a
him up.
bitch. It was a fork with the king. But listen, maybe I won't win this game, but I'll force you to checkmate me, and then maybe next game.
Well, I resigned more than you.
That's like the I was only pretending to be retarded insult.
No, I can tell one there. As we said earlier, Dave does not resign.
He
never resigns.
He doesn't.
It's a meta strategy. If I lose real bad this time, I'll entice him into trying a more loose, open next time, something more experimental, and that's when I'll get him. So this is all to plan. This is all a big
kaikaku.
I was gonna make the same joke. I was like, Dave doesn't know that meme, and I was like, oh, he does, but only sort of.
I say it,
but Billy says it to me all the time, and it always means something bad is happening to me.
I would have thought Dave would know it because animation.
I'm sorry, what? I was laughing.
I would have thought Dave would have known it because of animation, you know? I thought he might be a Death Note fan.
He doesn't keep...
I can do animation. I don't have time to watch a lot of it.
Dude, I had to inform Dave about, like, stuff that was happening in 2010 with animation. He doesn't keep track of any of that. He's too dialed into the dream world. He's too dialed in. No, Dave.
But basically, I have 2 pieces. He has 2 pieces, but he has no rook. So I've got no. I'm 7 pawns up apparently. The score, you know the score that you heard about.
Billy, what I'm saying is you have to rape him. You got to rape him into submission.
I try to, but.
That's what I do every time I come over.
That's true. That's true. I've seen it. It's crazy.
That's why every time in the chat, whenever I'm losing a game, I'm always like, checkmate me, daddy.
Yeah, and then I do, metaphorically, in Minecraft.
Yeah, metaphorically.
Yeah, we have to say all these things because we want to stay monetized on Twitch. Listen, that paycheck made a difference. All right.
Omega lol. By the way, Kit, download Better Twitch TV. You get like free emotes and shit. It's a good program.
What is it? Oh, you'll have to tell me when I'm not. I haven't drank so much. I finished an entire bottle of sake while streaming, so.
Oh, you're having a good night.
You know I spam sour PLS in chat sometimes?
You spam many things in chat.
Well, one of them is like Better Twitch TV, which is like it gives you like free fucking emotes and shit.
All right, all right, listen. I will do that, but you have to inform me tomorrow when I've had less sake in my system because then I won't remember.
I will try, you fucking weeb.
Listen, you don't even have to try. I know you'll do it because you always come through. You are very, very reliable.
Oh, thank you. I try to be.
You are. You're wunderbar. All right, we've been trying to end the stream for a few minutes, but we've all been jerking each other off for too many minutes. Any last minute mentions anybody wants to do before we shut this nightmare off?
Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself.
Epstein did not kill himself. All right, Dave, what do you got?
Biden did not kill himself.
Biden didn't kill himself. Biden did not kill himself. Screen cap that.
Get it where it's popular.
It was Kamala. Kamala Harris killed him.
Kamala Harris didn't order it.
Kamala Harris. Epstein didn't kill himself. Biden didn't kill himself. Kamala didn't order it. All right, we have many predictions tonight. Jesus Christ. I'm trying to keep all this in order, okay? Coyote in the Hat in the chat says, be sure to go out and vote. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh yeah, don't forget that. That's important.
Don't forget to do that near the end of January when all the voting comes up. Go and do that. It'll make a huge difference.
Do your civic duty. Go vote.
I'm gonna fucking kill myself. Oh God. Nico already left, I think, unless he's been lurking. Who do you think?
He's a smart one.
He fucked off to the Netherlands or Dutch or wherever the fuck he's from. He's a good guy. I like that dude. All right. Those are good sign-off messages. So we'll be back next week. Same Snake Pit, same pit time. 7
Good night,
p.m.
folks.
EST.
Night.
7 p.m.
Fucking
EST
hell.
on your Saturdays. Be
Kid,
here,
drink some
or
water.
be square, or kill yourself. Doesn't even matter.
And drink water too. That's important.
Drink your agua. Get your vaccines. And
Send me
go
a
out
vaccine.
and rock the vote.
That's an old
Good night.
Good night,
Night.
everybody. We'll have Shots
Night,
with
night.
Comics tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. EST. So if you need more
And
of
I'll be modding a chat, so don't misbehave, you know?
me, yeah, don't post too many N-words or I'll kill you.
Or else I'll promote you to a moderator. I mean, oh yeah, that.
Wait. Oh.
Good night.
Good night,
Night.
everybody.